welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Night Live with my crew. Look at these guys. God, with this setup, it almost looks like the pictures at the post office. Most wanted right here. The way it's set up.
It looks like a police lineup.
Ma'am, it wasn't me, I swear.
Ma'am, can you please point to the gentleman that?
Hey,
I'll obscure my face with vape.
Which one of these five guys flashed you? How you guys doing tonight?
Fantastico.
We got Tommy back. Were you here with us last week, Tom?
Yes, I was here last week.
Wow, man, my memory's just horrible. For some reason,
you'll be all right.
What happens when you get old?
I remember you not being here. maybe
that was like almost a month ago now.
Maybe that's because you're too quiet. You need to.
I was going to tell him to eat more carrots, but
yeah, you need
that
to
grows
share
hair
that.
on your chest. Yeah. It's fish.
Yeah.
Fish.
Yeah, Tom needs to share that Wisconsin knowledge that he has all stuck up in there in that head of his. You know.
I don't know if y'all want that.
Yeah, we do. We need to hear all that stuff. Brian, how you doing, Brian?
Not too bad. It's it's okay here. I mean, it's not freezing cold yet. So I don't have a hoodie on, so that's pretty awesome.
You don't have a hoodie or a tan where you live.
Yeah, and I won't get a tan up here. That's just not gonna happen.
Not in December, no.
Just go to one of those tanning salons. You'll get a tan.
Yeah.
You pay for it, but you get one.
Yeah, why do I want to do that? I mean, last time I got a tan, I went to DC, and I'll just do that again.
And you got
that wasn't a tan.
No! Now I remember the last time he got a tan. He looked like he had 2 eggs pasted to his eyeballs.
That was raccoon face. You had raccoon face. You forgot to take your sunglasses.
I'll just remember not to wear sunglasses next time. I mean,
there you go.
That's how that works.
Yeah, with the COVID though, you can't go to tanning booths, right? I think the tanning beds are closed here in Cali. You can't go to a tanning bed here.
What's up, Brian? What's up, Stacy?
You guys don't need tanning beds there, man.
Everything is closed in California, so that don't count.
Well, you can get. I heard, I remember. I'm gonna go back in my youth when I used to actually ski, but I used to remember getting sunburned when you ski. Didn't you, Don't you, Anthony? Still?
Oh yeah, the goggle tan. Yeah, especially like springtime. When it comes around in like May and it's actually more sun out, you get that nice raccoon eyes going.
Yeah.
That's how you know you got enough days in that year if you're a big skier or snowboarder.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember those days. It's been a while since I've been on a mountain. I'm kind of. I don't want to break a hip.
We have pads, so we can pad you up, man. We get you a helmet, we get you the crash pants, you'll be dialed.
And then you're playing hockey. Why you want to fucking ski?
Yeah, no, I loved skiing, and I wish I would have had snowboarding when I was a kid because now I think that's awesome. The snowboarding, I can't do it now, but I wish we would have had snowboards back when I was in the early '80s. But
why not? We could get you up there, man.
You can totally do it now, John.
I want video if you can actually get him to come.
If you ski, you'll learn snowboarding quick. It's all about if you know how to work your edges, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be good. I don't know how long I'd last.
I like to vicariously snowboard through others. So John, be my guest.
Yeah, I'll put my GoPro on my helmet and I'll just go down the hill, somehow get to the bottom. I don't know. I can't promise you I'll be on the board when I get back to the bottom, but
that'd be a great video too.
What's up, Dan?
How's about the content?
How's New Zealand?
I hurt myself when I tried skiing and snowboarding. Yeah, I know. That's what
Stacey,
I'm afraid of.
We're not doctors here, but our diagnosis would be don't do that.
Don't do that.
Just don't
do it. Do it.
Well, the best thing instead
she
of
hurt herself. Why do you want her to hurt
That's
herself?
how you know you're doing it right, okay? If you're doing it your best, you're hurting yourself because you're trying, man. Come on.
Get out there and
get out there. Go skiing.
Last time I went skiing, I had one leg go one way, the other leg go the other way. That was
I would just have the song by what is that ZampleBox on loop as I'm skiing down the mountain. I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Actually, the best idea instead of like skiing and snowboarding, if you're afraid you're gonna fall, just get like a big sled instead.
Right?
Yeah. Don't have to worry about falling.
Well, you know, it's kind of funny too.
Inner tube downhill,
Snowboarding,
man.
it's like everyone's like, "Oh, well, if I'm gonna go snowboarding, like my legs are gonna be so tired." If it's your first day of snowboarding, it's not gonna be your legs. You're not gonna be standing up long enough to use them. It's gonna be your arms and your chest from like falling down, pushing yourself back up every single time. It's always like, "Oh."
Yeah, that was my son's. Every year they used to have their Boy Scout thing, and they used to go snowboarding. And it's about a 2-hour drive from my house here in Northern California. And I get a phone call. Your son ran into a tree. And I was like, okay, is he still alive? He's like, yeah, but we can't give him any aspirin. I'm like, until you gotta come down here and give him aspirin. I'm like, you're gonna let my son suffer for 2 hours while I drive up there? I'm telling you to give my son some aspirin, some Tylenol, something.
Now, see, John and I came from a time period where I mean, let's not talk about skis or snowboards. No, we had flexible flyers. That's how we got down hills. We had like the old school wood sleds where you had to get the SOS pad out every winter and get all the rust off the blades and then wax them up, and then we were just basically missiles going down a hill.
Pretty much.
Oh my God, there were so many horrific accidents on those things.
Yeah, toys and stuff from the 70s and early 70s.
No safety measures.
Yeah, the dart thing alone was just, now that I think about
lawn
it, when I see those darts, I'm just like, why did anybody let us play with those? And how wasn't there more hospitalizations with people playing with those long darts when I was a kid, dude? Because it was just like, you're throwing up a sharp object up in the air.
And as a kid, it's all about like, how high can I throw it? It's not about hitting in the circle at all.
You see, back in the day, we didn't have like the internet and shitloads of video games to keep us completely sedentary. So we were more nimble and could, bob and weave on those horrific toys real easy. Nowadays, everybody, this would be a lawn dart. This would be a lawn dart day. It would just be people like this. Yeah, that's how people get killed with lawn darts, because they're just got their face planted in their
trying to video record it, dude, while they throw the darts up.
I was texting my bae and just got me with a lawn dart.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of it too now is
that could be a new segment. Is I just want to hear Tim with the young hip lingo. lingo.
I'll just have Urban Dictionary up here on the right, and I'll read it from front to back. That'll be one of my segments.
Well, it's like today's kids. It's about hurting themselves or embarrassing someone, or to get them to get that laugh. And it's just like, I never thought of doing like half the stuff that I see on like TikTok to an adult, because I knew that adult didn't give a crap how old I was. He was going to slap my ass. He was going to beat my ass. You know what I mean? Well, Tim knows what I'm talking about. I mean, you guys are young. No one was allowed to touch you guys unless it was your parents. But back then, anybody on the block,
my mom missed that memo.
Anybody on the block, your parents had a right to smack your ass and send you home. Man, there's just no way. Like the flinch videos, I don't get this, where the people are walking into Walmart and they walk next to an older guy and they just flinch like that and scare the crap out of this guy. And I'm like, there's no way I would have done that to anybody as a kid back in the 70s.
Because at like 10, you would have got your ass knocked out.
I would have got my ass whooped, What are we vaping on here? Currently vaping on the Green Crack Ice by
I've never had that.
Solid choice.
Yeah. Is that good?
Super good. It's like a sour green apple, and I think it might be kiwi with it. Ooh. Don't quote me. I know it has apple in it, and it's really good.
Spokesman for ZampleBox here. Don't quote him.
We don't usually do the what we're vaping, but let's do that tonight. What the hell? Brian, what are you vaping on? No mods, just your juice.
Show me your juice.
Show me your juice.
I'm trying something different today by Kilo. It's actually their...
Is there anything new from Kilo? I don't think so.
No, I've had this.
New to you.
And this one's called
John, you drinking a wine tonight? Looking all fancy.
Marshmallow.
I dusted off 4 bottles of beer, so I'm going to stick with wine tonight. The rest of the night.
Let Brian tell us what he's vaping.
Yeah, it's actually their Marshmallow Crisp.
Oh, that's the white label.
Oh, yeah. I love marshmallow stuff.
That's really good.
It's actually really good. I like my desserts. Marshmallow is a hard one for me. Because people usually do like a graham cracker marshmallow at all times.
Right.
So this one's different. It's kind of like a Rice Krispie-esque ish, like a the treat, like the how they make that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not like exactly it, but I mean, it's kind of got that tone to it. So I mean, I don't know. It's pretty good. Something different.
I didn't. Anthony, are we ever going to see them back in the box? Is there a possibility of someday having Kilo back in the box?
Yeah, I think really the thing holding us up with that was mostly just on bottle size. So now with PMTAs, I believe they only had submitted for 60 ml bottles. But yeah, we could totally that'll be definitely one of the ones I'll be targeting with the transition.
Yeah. People that want us, people that actually want us to a better life, yes, they are still vaping.
Yep.
That's a good one. I mean, people are still watching ZampleBox, so they must still be vaping. Come on, right? You're here.
That's why we're here.
Unfortunately, you should be asking, are people still smoking? Because that's the bad one. That's the bad one. What else are you vaping on there in the chat, Brian?
Me, I'm still working on the mango freeze.
The mango freeze.
That one.
That's good stuff. Too.
Still been working on that one too. I actually just finished off. So I gotta move on to this one. I just finished off my bottle of
the Cali Vapors.
Yeah, Cali Vapor salt.
That's a Devil's Punch Bowl.
Yeah. Devil's Punch Bowl ice.
Fucking Anthony can name shit. All he needs is the color of the bottle. He doesn't even need to see the letter.
And then apparently I got another box I gotta go through. So
that'd be a great game to play one night. What we'll do is we'll take like just ZampleBox flavors and we'll cover up the flavor profile and just show him like the bottle. Yeah. And see if he can guess the that's the brand name. But we want to know exactly what flavor it is.
Okay, so he can't cheat on this and pull up our profiles, and then like when we show the bottle, he can't just zip through and see what we got. That'd be unfair.
I could probably even for most of them, even like flavors that aren't on ZampleBox, like flavors that are just out of the ordinary that have been around. Like I could probably tell you the names. I mean, working from my vape shop to now, I've seen so many flavors of e-liquid. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. It's something from working in the shop and having to remember the flavor profiles so much to tell customers, I'm sure Brian, like you could probably name off almost every flavor profile in your shop right now. Like I know you can because, and you have like a certain way, like, I might say kiwi, pomegranate, strawberry, but he might say strawberry, pomegranate, kiwi, but he has that burnt into his brain that it's like a routine when that customer comes in, what flavor is that?
Well, see, here's the thing with some of the juices. It's one thing I've noticed. Like I've kind of talked about this a little bit before, is with desserts with different like fruits in there. If you have them lower wattage or higher wattage, that fruit will pop out at different tones.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. So like I ask them what wattage they're vaping on first, and then I can describe exactly how it's going to taste.
Who's got an apple flavor they love? I can't remember the one.
I'll tell you real quick.
Okay. I'm going to ask a question to this question. Is it green apple or red apple?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I was just thinking that.
Let's not
the one I like is a green apple. Which one's yours?
Sour House apple.
Which one's yours, Pam?
I would go with Red's apple iced.
Yeah, Red's apple.
That's just banging.
Are we just going plain apple, or are we going like apple, anything that has apple?
Yeah, let us know which one it is. Are you green apple, sour apple, red apple?
Green apple.
Green apple. Oh, God, green apple. God, who was that one that you guys had in the box? I can't remember that company's name right now off the top of my head. I got
remember the one they had for a while called, I think it was from a company called Flow, FLO. Yeah, and they kind of did their bottles. They kind of had like a wood look to them. The caps kind of looked like wood, and it had the weird glass dripper thingies in them, had like a ball at the end of it. That was a really good one.
Oh, hey, let's answer. Are you guys, are you still considering 60 ml bottles to replace the 30s, Anthony?
Yes, we are. It's still in the works. I had just replied to him in the thing.
Okay, I see.
I was getting there. Sorry for the delay there, Modern. But yeah. I mean, we're obviously still working with 30 mils, but I'm really hoping to be transitioning over to those 60 mils sooner than later. Because I like big bottles, and I cannot lie.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Do you feel though that when you have that 60 mil bottle, let's just say you have that 30 mil bottle in front of you, you had that 120 mil bottle in front of you, which one do you think you'd vape more because you have that 120 mil bottle in front of you? You're just looking at that bottle like, yeah.
I think I definitely vape less conservatively, but no matter what, when I get to a certain point on any bottle, I get real picky with it. The last 10, 20 mils of your 100 mil, or even, the last 10 mils of my 30 mil, no matter what, that's like the special zone where it's like, okay, if I really like this, I got to save some for another day.
Well, what's nice is when you got that last 20 mils left in that bottle, it's aged, it's colored right, it's got that banging flavor. You don't want to share it with anyone. It's just like, can I have it? No. You should have asked me when I had 120 mils. Now that I have 20 mils, no.
You wouldn't believe how many bottles I have sitting at home to have like that much in it, just so I can like remember exactly like how good it was. But I can't find it anymore. There was this really good, it was a cucumber like a mint one that was delicious, and they quit making it, and now I can't find it anymore, and so I have to just let it sit there. And it was actually really good.
Whoa, that's not good.
That's no bueno.
Man, it's so weird. At least they're doing 30 and not the 10 mils like
right. Yeah.
I mean, they give them a little bit more room, because 10 mils is some tank. I mean, the tanks we're using here in America are 5 to 7. Come on. Ooh, Fertitia.
Yeah,
is real good. Did you guys like the squeezed apple?
That was the one. That was the one I was thinking.
Squeezed was really good too.
So good, dude.
Yeah, like
I don't know why I didn't like their green apple, but I really like their other flavors. Their peach and their grapefruit. Those were
grapefruit. The lychee.
That grapefruit.
Yeah, the lychee was good.
Yeah, and then they only had 4 of them total, I think.
I tell you, that grapefruit from oh God, what's her name?
Yes.
No, I can't remember it.
Her name is Mindy.
Well,
Neighborhood.
Neighborhood, and the guava. I can't stop vaping that guava. I'm already on the second 30 mil bottle of that guava, and it's just been banging. And I don't know who makes this one. Oh wait, Sour House Ice.
Yep,
the raspberry
people.
God, that is so good, Anthony.
Their raspberry flavors are really good.
I dusted that 30 mil bottle in 2 days. It's just done. I'm just like, that is just so.
Hey, John.
Well, here's one thing. So like up here in North Dakota, like we can't vape inside the shops, so we have to go outside and do testing and all that stuff and whatever. And like it's dumb. Anyways, I was working with a shop that was in Iowa, so when I took a trip down there for a few days, helping with their shop, we were actually able to vape inside. And I actually went through almost 120 mils of juice in 1 8-hour shift, because I could just go to town. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe how much juice I actually went through in that day. I'm like, okay, this needs to stop. This is going to cost me way too much money.
Well, Anthony, when you worked in vape shop, wasn't it hard to control yourself? I mean, did the owner just like go get whatever you want?
So, I know, like we had any juice that we got sample. Like the whole point of having like a vape shop is like you get so many samples. Yeah. There's like, I mean, I rarely bought juice. I had to be like, I normally would vape it. We would bring it in. I might buy 1 bottle, and then I probably wouldn't vape it for a long time again, because I'd already sampled it for so long. I vaped through 100 mil or 60 mil of that. When it came in, I bought 1 bottle. Now I'm already sampling, other things to come in, because there's so many flavors coming in that, I mean, you can't even try them all. It was like at one point it was pretty much impossible to try them all.
Right. Yeah, Chad, all those brands that we named off are available.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They are available. Well, let's find out what Tim's vaping. What are you vaping, Timmy?
This could take a whole show. I've got multiples going on here. So
just the liquid, not the hardware.
No, well, I've got. Good Lord, I can't even read this because they put it in yellow and the font is like 3. Right. It's from Taylor. It's called Strawberry Lem.
Oh, that's good.
Short for lemon. So the Taylor line, these are the salts right now. That's a good one. The other one is the Taylor Pinky Palmer.
I've been loving those Taylor salts.
Yeah,
man.
this one's good. That's like a strawberry lemonade, in case people couldn't figure that one out. And then I've got
that flavor. What was that flavor?
Pinky Palmer.
Oh, okay.
I saw that too, Tom.
Tom said time out. Time out.
Stacy had a question.
Yep.
Stacy. So if you smoke 4 to 10 full smokes a day, what milligram?
So that's like a half a pack.
Yeah, if you're smoking a half a pack, this also depends on what type of device you have as well. You know, if comparatively, like if you're using a pod device versus this, you know, what I would tell you to run on this versus what I would tell you to run on that would probably be pretty different answers.
Yeah. Okay, I know her. Keep it simple.
Yeah, something like this, like a little pod system, I would probably either be at 25 milligrams or for salt.
If you could find a 12, I think a 12 would be
12 freebase would be great in this. Or if you got a bigger setup, something like this, like he was showing, then I would probably do something like a 6. But if you're only smoking and you're not vaping, haven't really vaped, I'd probably do something simple like a mouth to lung type thing device, something simple to use and work with.
Yeah, and I think
just like this, it's one button, no up and down. Your pod comes out, you fill up liquid, put it back on again, off you go.
Right,
that's it.
Yeah, and even if you go with a like more powerful device and you start out with the 6, I would say that low amount of cigarettes within your first bottle of 2, you could probably move down to 3 milligram. 6 milligram would probably just get you that, you know, satisfaction that you need initially, but really 3 milligram would do it for you. And do you think that we will carry reds at some point? I hope so, man. I've been trying for a good couple months. It's been a while since I talked to them, so I haven't really followed up with them after PMTAs. But yeah, I mean, I'm constantly talking to new vendors and adding in. So if you guys ever have new vendors and stuff that you guys want to see, we actually have a submission spot on ZampleBox. I think down at the bottom of the page, you can actually submit flavors, brands, and we do look at it. Like I look at it regularly.
Well, I think if the 60 mil sub options come out, then I think Reds plays right into your hands, because I think they're 60 mil for everything, unless it's the salts and then they're 30s.
Right.
Yeah. Well, one thing with me too is like with apples. So like there's so many people have different apple flavors and stuff. One thing I try to focus on is like sometimes when you vape it, you kind of get this little tint of like the apple skin type of a flavor to it, and that's kind of what I focus on sometimes with the apple ones. It's weird, but that's kind of what I do.
It is request. Where is it? Right here.
Right there. Yep.
There you go.
And we also have share an idea, which you can put it in there as well.
Yeah. Tim, what else you vaping on, Timmy?
Well, on the MTL, I'm doing the Juice Head Blueberry Lemon. It's hard to see. I don't have that focus thing going on. All right. And then on the big boys, the freebase, I'm doing the Fruit Monster Strawberry Kiwi Pomegranate. That one's in the option.
You're on the wrong page, buddy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then last, Don't Kill Me. All right, this is the one where everyone's like, probably I should.
Don't kill me.
Well, I probably shouldn't show this, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because I mean, fuck.
I can block you.
Yeah, you could. It ties right into the conversation because we're talking about Apple. So I'm doing the Candy King Apple Ice.
You son of a bitch!
No, yeah, I know. Let's not pretend I'm using child suggestive flavors.
Nah, you're good.
Anyhow, that's it. I got nothing else.
Anthony.
Hello.
What is Anthony vaping on?
So we got quite the variety here today. In one of my devices, I'm vaping on Vertigo Vapor's Pink Drink in a 3 milligram, and it's a watermelon strawberry. It says it has ice cubes in it. I don't really taste ice in it, and that's fine. Like
not just ice, but ice cubes.
Yeah. So I think it's got maybe just like the lightest, like you know how LaCroix is like a flavor where it's like, oh, this is lemon, but it's like lemon, you know, the taste of lemon standing next to a crate of lemons. You know, it's not the real flavor. It has that kind of ice touch to it where I do like that with fruit flavors. I think a little tiny hint of ice kind of makes the fruit flavors taste a little bit brighter.
Yeah.
And then I'm also vaping an actual iced flavor from Elysian, the Dragon Glass.
Nice.
I'm not going to focus,
That's good.
Dragon Glass, this one right here is a chilled mango dragon fruit, and I've about pieced this whole bottle off. Okay, this one has been doing me really well. And then in my bigger guy, I'm vaping a dessert flavor. I honestly don't remember what flavor it is, but it's like a vanilla custard or something. It was something plain. I'm vaping fruits out of both of my small guys, so I had to have like my dessert flavor in there somewhere, and I kind of went with a basic one.
Yeah.
I find that more complicated flavors are a little bit more hard to get out of like a mouth to lung device than they are out of like a sub-ohm tank or higher kind of per se. That's just myself though, because I'm
I'm that way. You're right though, because I think when I'm with my mouth to lung stuff, I kind of try to stick to some of the basic flavors and not some of the more complex flavors where I don't get those notes from mouth to lung for some reason.
Yeah.
Hey, who was? Oh, it was Chad. I don't know does anybody like caramel apple, that sour green apple and caramel.
Oh, those suckers.
Yeah. Well, Calisteam has one that's called Carnival, which is a really good. That's like a candied apple, caramel apple. I don't know what happened to them. And this is before PMTAs.
5 Pounds?
Remember no, 5 Pounds is still here, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say they have one called. It's the same type.
Okay, you're in the penalty box for 2 minutes. You can't you can't answer the question until I actually ask it. So no, before the PM, this is years ago. Anybody remember the brand Ruckusy liquids?
Yeah,
Okay.
Ruckus or Ruthless?
Ruckus, RUCKUS. They had like
be in the penalty box too.
No, I asked the question, and then he just didn't understand. Apparently, my English is no good. He didn't understand
It's that East to West Coast translation thing.
Exactly. Yeah, but they had like Gorilla Guts and some other. They had a flavor called Apple Delight, which was really good. But I think Ruckus is done. I don't think they're good gravy, John. We don't.
What are you doing, John?
My camera's being a bitch today, dude.
Guess what we're gonna see for the next 2 days in our PMs is John looking for a new camera.
No, hell no. Hell no. I don't have an extra $5,000 right now.
Yeah,
hey Anthony, can you answer that question real quick there for
Yeah, will you put it up again? I was trying to type it out here again. But yeah, normally, so he put all the 2020s, and then if you look up a juice, but there's no order option. So most of the time that means that it's either out of stock or that the stock is low enough that you can't reserve it. So a lot of times, like once the quantity's below X, say, like 100 bottles or 50 bottles or whatever, it doesn't let you reserve those bottles anymore because they're already going to be going out into boxes. But for the most of the time, it just means it's out of stock or we're out of that nicotine level for the time. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're no longer working with them. There are a few products on there, but for the most part, if it's out of stock, we're still working with them. We just don't have it in stock at the moment.
funnel cake, man? God, I haven't had a funnel cake baked in so long.
What's that company?
Same.
Fried.
Yeah,
Fried was good.
That's the one. That's the last one I had. Fried. Are they still animal, right?
They're still around.
Yeah.
The other one, if you're not going to do fried, you got to do churros and ice cream from One Up.
One Up.
Churros and ice cream from One Up is, and they also have a strawberry churros and ice cream also.
There was one that was by. I'm gonna have to find the bottle again. Anyways,
Cheryl,
they were actually made a straight funnel cake, and that was actually really good. It was made by Dean Helican.
Hey Cheryl.
That's it. Yeah. His line was called
That one.
Yeah, that one, this one, and all that. Yeah. So he actually made a funnel cake one.
Yeah, it was.
That one was really good. I have a bottle of it sitting over there. It's that way, and I'm over here. So
can you put up Bernie's he just put another response there about Milkshake and Panda and those brands. So actually, most of those brands, last I checked, all of the Milkshake e-liquids, I think they're no longer made. That was part of PMTA. So those ones will most likely not be available, except I think they still might be making Chamois Shake. I don't think they're doing any of the other ones, but possibly Chamois Shake. And if they can't find Chamois Shake, I highly recommend checking out Sad Boy's Shamrock Shake. It's super good.
All right, two things.
Beta,
Hey, Bernie, Beta, that was from Alternative.
Alternative, yeah.
Yeah, and you can still get Alternative, but they just aren't on the ZampleBox selections anymore. Yeah. Anthony, I don't know if you mentioned this real quick, but to some of the people asking. Yes, you can. Yeah, to people watching, I don't know if Anthony may have mentioned this, and I'm blonde, so I wasn't paying attention. But
you should be in the penalty box.
I will. I'm going to put myself in there. Don't you worry, young man. No, am I wrong in stating that sometimes the reason certain flavors fall out of ZB rotation is because they're no longer providing you with 30 mil options to sell through the boxes?
Definitely, yeah. So that's been with the PMTAs, that's been a new problem that we've ran into. You know, normally if it was a product that, you know, we had, but then we stopped carrying, you know, maybe it was just something like they didn't have the time to make more bottles, or, you know, maybe they weren't working with us anymore. Now, the thing that we ran into this last year is with PMTA submissions, if they don't submit for 30 mil bottles, they technically can't, you know, and it's kind of a gray area. We'll see what happens over the next couple months as far as, you know, are they allowed to make label adjustments? Are they allowed to make bottle size adjustments? You know, I think that's going to be some interesting things to come into 2021.
The world is changed.
Modern Vapor was talking about one-hit wonders. I've tried almost all their stuff. The one that he's talking about, the Apple one, is actually really good. They made a few others. That Man, was it
Milkman,
Milkman, all that stuff. Yeah. They had a frosting one, which I wasn't. It was very flat to me. I wasn't a big fan of it. Then they had the
Napoleon one,
ice cream one. Yeah, I'm not a big chocolate person, so that kind of was off my rail. And they had a strawberry muffin one, I think it was too.
Yeah,
and I'm not a big strawberry person. So that kind of
boo, go in the penalty box.
Hey,
listen.
Maybe I'm wrong, but they got. What happened with them is they just. I think a lot of people just weren't buying their stuff no more because it was just coil killers. I mean, that one-hit wonder stuff was just killing.
You got to think though, one-hit wonder was one of the first. Bulk e-liquid options.
And
it came with 180 mils for $21 or $25 or something like that.
Well, when it first came out, it was pretty expensive at the time, and then they really dropped the price after that. But at the time, it was, I think, from what I saw around my town, is like the 180 was sitting at like $60 for it.
Yeah,
to buy it in town with the cartridge with the 2 bottles and all that stuff. I'm like, holy crap! But then everyone's like, well, you're buying a 30 mil for like $30. So.
Yeah, there was a couple of hardware questions. One was what do we think of the Smoke Nord? I have one, and I don't use it anymore, and I'll tell you why. Because
it leaks.
Smoke, well, that and Smoke strikes again with their crappy coils.
Their coils, not good, and the pod, the way that it press fits in, it's just, leaks a lot. It's going to leak. I'll tell you right now.
It's finicky.
Okay. It's a really pretty shelf queen, though. It's white, and it sits back there.
It's good when the coil works good. You know?
I think a lot of the manufacturers stopped going with 3 battery devices because of the 21700s. 27.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 21700. You know, you can get a single 21700 that'll last you just as good as almost 2, 18650s. So if you're running a dual 21700, you're a smaller device than a triple 18650 with, more battery life.
Granted, I will give Wismec and Jabo credit for doing a really nice design on the 2.3, the 200S, and then the Gen 3. Those were really small, compact triple battery devices, but I think it's
what the best part was about
phasing
those?
Out.
those were repairable, man.
Yeah.
You know how many of those I fixed where it was like they had a pretty, especially the 2/3. The 2/3 had a really common problem where the solder on the inside would break off of the battery sled.
I had to solder mine.
Probably like 80% of these things.
So,
but they always broke in a place that was easy to fix. You know, it wasn't like the board was bad or the screen's bad. It was
You take
something
the battery
small that you can actually fix.
With that
You
mod
take the battery out, it's right there.
Yeah, that mod you got your mom. It's okay. I mean, it's just our opinion, but just keep track of it. Pay attention to it. Don't let her get frustrated by the coils. And if she does, because a lot of times that's what happens. With the beginning smoker, they get frustrated because it's leaking or it's not working. Stay on top of it. Pay attention to it. And if it's not working for her, then
get like a Caliburn or the Caliburn G.
Yeah, right there, Empire, right there. I mean, this would be your backup if the Nord starts giving her issues. These are compact, small, decent battery life, and the 2 mil refillable pod. And the thing that I think is great about it is the coils are bomb. They last a long time, and especially with someone who's transitioning from smoking to vaping, and they're using a device like this. Is that they're going to be on this constantly. They're not like the rest of us that got 5.
What's more important to you guys, flavor or coil life?
Coil life.
Come on, man.
What are you gonna pick? You can only pick one. You're gonna get great flavor or good coil life for a month.
I'll go with coil life. I'll tell you why. Because in the end, I don't want to spend any more on coils than I have to. So if coils are burning out after 2, 3, 5 days, and I'm buying a 4 to, nowadays all the coils are coming in like 4 and 3 packs. Like the very few are doing 5 packs anymore. So you're dropping what, $12 to $15, every few weeks. That shit adds up.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So I actually had a follow-up question to your actual question.
Now,
you're in the penalty box. No
question. Are you out of the penalty box yet?
You said 2 minutes. It's been like 10.
He's out. Go ahead.
The follow-up question is, with that flavor or the coil life, was that flavor going to be the actual flavor of it, the actual supposed flavor for the entire lifetime of that coil, or is it faded as the coil goes to crap?
So it's gonna be the definition of good flavor in your mind. Because everyone's got a different definition, okay, of what good flavor is. Okay, so in your mind, it's gonna be the definition of good flavor, but it's only gonna last you, say, a week, versus a coil that's gonna give you okay flavor, but it's gonna last you a month.
Okay, so I would actually go on flavor then. Because if it's supposed to be the way the juice is supposed to be, then I would actually go on flavor.
Well, it's tough because everybody vapes different. I mean, some people are, me and my buddy, I said to him I remember we did this one week where we set our mods to 0, and we tried to see what we vaped during the week, and our numbers were way fucking different between each other. And I was trying to figure out why he was going through coils so quickly. And then I looked at his and I was like, dude, you're hitting this thing 300-400 times a day. I was like, how long do you think this coil is going to last? I don't care if it's the greatest friggin' coil ever made in the history of vaping. That thing's not going to last. It's not going to last. If you're hitting it 300-400 times a day,
have you seen, Brian, have you seen where people, they're still kind of learning to vape and maybe they got a sub-ohm device, but they're not ready for it? A really common thing that I see where people are burning their coils is because they're having to run a coil at, say, 40 watts or 30 watts. Right. They're a new vapor. They're not ready to kind of, handle that much power yet. So they're doing that really light draw where they're barely have their lips on it.
They don't hit it right. Yeah.
And it's they're just burning their coil. Not enough airflow is keeping the coil cool anymore. So now they're like, man, my coil's not lasting. And you're like, okay, show me how you vape. And you see them and they go, and you're like, oh, okay. That's so if you guys are having not good coil life, one thing is you do have to have good airflow. Depending on the temperature, airflow is important to keep the coil cool.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't put her on an RDA yet. If she's a beginning, stick with your
do the easy peasy lemon squeezy route. So like a pod AIO kind of system, something that she can just refill on the go and has a button to push, no numbers to change, nothing.
Yeah, I did that with my son, and I got him to use the coils for a while, and then what I did is every 3 to 4 days I started with an RTA, a single coil build RTA, mouth to lung, and then I would replace his cotton every 3 days. So he would come over, I'd do it for him, just kind of show him how it's done, but. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if your mom's gonna want to replace cotton in a coil. I mean, if something you want to do for her, that's great. Every couple of days, check it.
Well, I was about to say, she's not gonna want to, but she's gonna want you to change it. So just know, if you get her that, you're signing yourself up to be at mom's a lot.
Well, here's the thing I've seen, like you were talking about in that instance. I've seen that a lot, but I've also seen where people will actually hold the button down before it gets to their mouth. And then they inhale and they let go and their fingers on the button and then they let go. And I'm like, what are you doing?
They press the button way out here.
Yeah. And then pull it towards their mouth. So
wait,
people, just like that. And
don't press the button till you're sucking.
Right? so I kind of got them into routine of like, you put it to your mouth, you start breathing in, then push the button. And then right before you quit breathing in, let go, and then breathe in that last little bit of air through it, and then
Yeah, I think a lot of people are in that wattage range right now. I think a lot's changed. I think a lot of people. I seldomly see anyone in that 100, even 80. I don't see too many people in the 80s. I think everyone's right around that 50. I'm at the 50-75 range. I don't know about these guys, but I think Tim is too. What are you, 80?
Yeah, I'm usually somewhere between like 85 and 100.
Yeah,
most of the time. But that's because the coils that I'm using can handle that.
Yeah.
Now, if it's an AIO or something where I'm using a stock coil, then even still nowadays, most of the mods coming out have those intelligent chips in them. So.
Yeah, and I mean, Chad, I think most of us here probably used to vape, over 100 watts. I was vaping, 180, 150 watts pretty regularly, for a while there. Was it 0.15 or 0.1 on a full battery on a mech is like 150 watts or something like that.
Does anybody remember the poster on ZampleBox that was like one day and he was like looking for a mod because he vaped at like 320 watts?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Or do you guys remember the Lethal Vape 5000 from?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It was a fog machine.
Vape.
Yeah.
So one Halloween, we were trying to get some Halloween decorations for our store, and one of our customers happened to come in. He's like, "Hey, you should look for Halloween decorations on Craigslist. Like people are getting rid of them all the time." And we're like, "Oh, that's a good idea."
Yeah.
We looked down there. We got this really good deal. We got like 2 totes of Halloween decorations and 3 smoke machines for like $25.
Nice.
And so we get these smoke machines, and like we didn't have any of the fluid, but we did have a bunch of vape samples.
Yeah.
So we're like pouring 0 milligram samples into the fog machines, and it worked. You could totally.
Did you get the smell though? Did the smell come up?
A little bit. It still smelled kind of like the stock fluid that had been ran through it, But I bet you if you bought a brand new machine and it was seasoned in, it might work.
That's a good question. I've had juices that have been over 2 years old and still absolutely fine. How you store a damp environment where there's no sunlight, all that stuff. It's usually works out very well. I've heard of some people putting in freezers, some people putting in fridges, stuff like that.
Are you a fridge or freezer? See, I've always been not fridge.
I don't.
Mine always goes dark. Mine goes dark shelf in a cabinet, closed.
The most important thing is dark
light.
Yep.
Keeping light will react with your nicotine and can change things. But also I think it kind of depends too on the flavors. Like I've had a few cream flavors that normally I feel like cream flavors get better after time, but I've had some that just didn't get better. They got worse, But it really depends on some of the fruit flavors. Once they steep, I've had them where I'm like, oh, I don't really like it as much, especially like blueberry for me. I don't know about you guys, but steep blueberry I don't like. Fresh blueberry, good.
Let me talk about that right there. Wismec kept me at 120. One of the things I've noticed over the years, and I think most of us that have used different types of mod is, 80 watts on a DNA is a lot different than 80 watts on a Wismec. Did you guys get that sense? I mean, depending on the device that you were hitting on, like 80 watts didn't feel like 80 watts on a Wismec product or a Smock product or a Lost Vape product. Everything seemed to be different to me. It's like I grabbed my Paranormal and I'm hitting it at 70 watts, and I would grab, say, the Odin at 70 watts. Didn't feel like I was vaping at 70 watts. You guys get that sense when you're going from
what I would usually do, so like I used to be like the 70-80 person, but now I'm like 50. So what I do on any device is usually about 50. When I go to DNA, I put it down to 45 right at the bat.
Yeah.
And then right there, it's usually set perfectly. But if it's, I usually go, every 50 watts is down 5 watts on a DNA device. For me, it works great then.
Yeah. I noticed that. I know everything is not, I mean, no one ever tests the actual. You're muted, and we love when you're muted, though.
Oh,
there you go.
Hey, I have a voice. Yeah. Each device
Tim
is
just put you
reading
in
the
the
atomizer differently, so like not only is that, but then the accuracy of how much power it's putting through and, the different ramp up settings. Yeah, I've totally noticed like where I've been like, okay, we're going to take a smoke device at 80 watts, Nicotine device at 80 watts, a DNA 80 watts, same tanks. And yeah, they all vape just a little bit differently.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into the poll.
Bernie had a thing here. Interesting that the flavor profile changes over time. So the way I look at juices is kind of like the same way I kind of look at beer, where it ferments and like it's not like fermentation, but it's still like a reaction. Yeah, and so it's like an aging process. So it does mix up pretty well. Tim, you're out of the penalty box.
No, I was raising my hand to Dan J's question.
I think me and
any of us use temp control. No, that's because you've got the haters in the room, Dan. Don't listen to them. They're all just a bunch of sour puss vapors.
I am too, Tim. I am too. I used the.
Did you guys see my reply? I said, Dan.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, on temp control. No.
Right. Well, okay. So you use temp control. Right?
I do.
Used.
Yes,
I use the play feature. Whatever the play feature is, the new features on.
It's not temp
what
control.
wire do you use on temp control, Tim?
What's that?
What wire do you use on temp control?
Well, the reason why I was using it was to try to avoid dry hits altogether and to get a consistent vape. Now, John
what wire do you use?
I interrupted.
Oh, stainless steel 316.
Stainless steel.
Yeah, straight away. I would never. I don't use the nickel and I don't use the titanium because of the metals are a little inconsistent, so they can heat up really quickly, and I just don't want to mess with that. I think stainless steel is a nice balance because you can go both ways. You can go temp control with them, and you can go straight power with them. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a nice balance, and the flavor coming off them is nice. Sometimes it can be a little tricky with. Sometimes it can be a little tricky with the pre-firing. You have to pre-fire them kind of low, and because if you're not careful with stainless steel, you can fry the leads on those bastards real easy. Yeah. But stainless steel always.
All right. Okay. Before we go into the poll, we need to know what Tom's vaping on.
It's about time.
All right.
We've been here for 40 minutes.
47.50 to be exact.
Time stops in Wisconsin.
Oh. All right. I'm vaping on stuff.
Okay, let's get to the poll. No, I'm kidding.
All right, cool. Go to the poll.
No, go. I'm kidding you. What are you vaping?
Some Juice Head.
Yeah, baby.
Which one is this? Pineapple and grapefruit.
That's good. That's good stuff.
Some Yogi.
That is really good stuff.
I know. And custard cookie.
Custard cookie. Good job. I'm vaping
short, sweet, and to the point.
Lucha guava, and it will focus someday.
Just give up on your camera.
Yeah, and I am vaping the Sour House Ice, and I am I'm always vaping.
So he's vaping every juice he already talked about 20
minutes ago.
And, right, pretty much.
And I'm always vaping barista. So
yeah.
All right, let's get to our poll question.
Poll time.
Poll time. Da, 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 da. And you guys out there, if you got your favorite vape reviewer, let us know who it is. But we did a poll. I was going to put the poll on a bunch of vape groups, but I thought that wouldn't be nice because, most of them are owned by reviewers. So I thought that wouldn't be cool for me to put a post on who's your favorite vape reviewer on Fagan's page or Mike's page. But I went ahead and did it on the ZampleBox page. So I'm going to share that post right here. And of course, Mike Vapes on top as always. I think every time I've done this poll, Mike has won it. All right, here we go. Where'd it go?
I looked the other day and Matt was riding the top spot for a while there.
Matt was riding the top spot. Where did it go?
You lost it, John. Way to go.
I went to Zoom and Zoom said, fuck you.
Pretty much went down to one option again.
There it goes.
There you go.
Okay, Mike Vapes has taken the poll. He's taken the lead with 32 of the votes on the ZampleBox page, with Grim Green second, Matt in third, Jay Hayes there in fourth place. Got Vaping.
That's surprising.
That was surprising
Bogan
too.
I'm surprised.
I don't know why everybody thinks that. There are people that like him and people that don't.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised that Vaping Bogan has slipped down on that poll a little bit. I don't know why, but he slipped down.
Maybe, but when did you put it up? Maybe the Aussies weren't awake yet.
I put this up on Monday, so I gave everybody a good amount of time. Yeah, I gave everybody a good amount of time to Ryan Hall is in there, indoor smokers, which was surprising is to see indoor smokers that far down because usually he's right up there in the top three.
They're close though. I mean, we're talking 13 votes, 14 votes, 16. It's a tight race.
Yeah. Vaping with Twisted 420, Dash Vapes, Zophie, Rip Trippers, Tony B.
Wow.
Vaping with Vic is on there. DJLSB Vapes, Mark Fagan, ST Vapes, Abby Vapes. Got a vote. Daily Vapes. I don't know what Daily. Maybe I'm lost, but I've never seen anything from Daily Vapes TV. Phil Pissardo down there on the bottom. Sherlock Holmes. Big.
Oh, you could multiple vote these?
Yes.
Yeah, you can multiple.
I've gotten so used to only being able to vote once.
Yeah, I was going to leave it to one vote only, but I figured, everybody's got like their top 3 or top 5 that they go to. I mean, I do it. I know you guys all do it too. You'll see one video, go to the next. You got your top 3 that you go to all the time, to check out a product. Everybody's getting pretty much the same stuff here lately. But Vaping Biker's in there as well with one vote. Tommy voted for Vaping Biker.
Yo, I like the accent.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mike took the top spot.
I feel like some of the big dogs from before kind of just sort of fell off a little bit just because they aren't as active with vape reviews like they used to be. Like I watched a Twisted video the other day and I was like, not that I had forgotten he existed, but he's just not as prevalent in the cycle anymore. You don't see his videos come up as often. And Rip took all that time off after his big "I'm quitting vaping" spiel.
Like 3 months later, he's I'm back.
Yeah,
I'm back.
Nobody cares.
I got my lotion on. No, yeah, I think Rip, or not Rip. Twisted kind of he's kind of got like a lot of things going on. He's got the car stuff. He's got what else? He was
doing drones for a while.
Drones. He's into gaming now. He kind of paused for a while.
Who is
Twisted?
Oh, and he's in gaming now? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, he paused for a while and now he's kind of back doing reviews here and there. A lot of it, what I've seen is a lot of it's been smock products though.
Yeah.
But
wow,
you guys gotta put Bill's comment up there. Jerome Adams vape reviews. We were not fans.
Right?
No.
Yeah,
I gave it half.
It's hard for him to do those now because he's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. No, he's not.
Dan's got a valid point. Yes, it does seem like an ad because it does seem like it's all smock products and whatnot. He is entertaining, absolutely. And that's kind of the reason why I watch him.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of it with Mike being on. Mike's personality is great. He doesn't take it too seriously. I mean, he understands it's a vape product. I think it helps a lot. I think he focuses on a lot of the key parts and of the device, and it's just not like, okay, here you go. He doesn't just flash the what do you call it on the screen, the directions, how they always do that, or here I'm going to hold it here, you guys can screenshot this and come back and look at it. I mean, he doesn't do that, so it's just he kind of focuses on the whole product. And I think he's just got a great personality.
I'm more of a guy with the instructions. They're at the bottom of the box, and then I'd go to them if I actually need them, or I throw them behind me. And then I'm like, oops, I'm going to need that later.
Let's be serious here. Raise your hand. Who's actually, I'm not just talking about vape products, but anything that they purchased that they actually took the time to fucking look at the instructions? Raise their hand.
I don't look at that.
It really depends on what it is. Like I just did a dishwasher install, and like I know how to install a dishwasher. I've done it a bunch of times, but like I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. You don't want to put a dishwasher in and then have to pull it back out.
I got the door open, some weird way, but like, the hell.
I got the dishwasher story for you. I replaced the dishwasher and the garbage disposal at the same time, and I forgot to take out that closure part on the dishwasher where it's solid. So I put my pipe, and my dishwasher wasn't emptying for fucking 3 days, dude.
It just fill up with water. You open the door. Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I grabbed the instructions. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I forgot to take that piece out.
Hey, I had a question. Was Vaping Insider on that poll list?
No.
Vaping Insider.
I know a lot of people watch him. I'm sure he would have gotten quite a few votes.
I added him. I didn't think.
How rude!
I apologize to Vaping Insider.
And to Samuel's point, I think he hit the nail right on the head there. That's why I watch all of those different ones, because they all give a lot of it's the same, but it's really about by way of comparison. Because one guy might point out something that the other one doesn't, or give a different perspective on something. Because I tend to look beyond a lot of the nitpicky stuff that some of the people kind of hone in on, and it's like, okay, well, like, for example, I think it's
important too, because everyone vapes differently. Jay Hayes vapes differently than Vaping Insider versus Suck My Mod, and like just like even us with the five of us, like we all have such strong opinions where we might say the same things of like we all like this flavor, but the reasons why we liked it are going to be a little bit different.
Well, I think when you're researching an MTL, where are you going? You're going to go to Matt's page. You're going to go to Todd's page. You're going to go to Bill's page. You're not going to pretty much not go to Mike's page. I mean, I guess you would, because he does review quite a few MTL stuff, but usually you want to get that guy that we know Matt's a direct, a mouth to lung guy or restricted lung guy. And we know Phil is that guy. We know Todd's that type of vapor. So I think, for me, it depends on the product, and I'm sure it's the same with you guys as well. It's the product.
And I think Bill he had a good comment on Facebook too. He said, too many reviewers are just too anxious to be the first day reviewer to cover new products without giving it a solid try. And that's a big thing for me. Like, if they said like, oh, I just cracked it, at least tell me that you just cracked it open and this is your very first impression. Don't make it seem like you've vaped on it and you went through a coil or two, because to me, you can't even really, like, I'd say it takes at least 3 coils to give an honest opinion on a vape and a full setup, Because the first coil, it could just be a dud. It could be hit or miss. It could be, the 2 that come in the box are always like questionable to me. It's not until I actually try that third one from a different package that didn't come with it, and I'm like, okay, I've tried 3 coils. This is how I feel about it.
Well, I would say if that's the opinion you're going for, if you can get beyond it, that's Jay Hayes. Whenever Jay Hayes does a review on a device, he cracks it right out of the box. Whether he bought it or whether it was, his opinion is raw right out of the box. So if he freaking hates it, doesn't mean you have to hate it. Go watch it somewhere else and get a different opinion.
Well, I think they should list that in the header of the YouTube video. Hey, this is basically an unboxing.
But you kind of know what you're going to get with him, though. And Cheryl, I don't know if you're addressing a change in their mixtures, but I know that Lemon Twist is changing some of their flavor names. They've gone from like Pink Punch Ice to Pink Zero. So they're trying to get away from sort of like the attractiveness, I guess, of the flavor, maybe, for the PMTA.
Samuel Jones says it's SmackDown versus Raw. That's a good analogy. Well, then you also got, what's the other one, like the TNT, where they're like the B-rated wrestlers.
So
TNA Impact.
So AEW is on TNT now.
Oh God, here we go.
Impact Wrestling is actually on a different
Brian
channel
is
now.
the wrestling guy. He knows it
And
Are you?
then
Oh.
yeah, since I was like 9.
Same. I just don't watch
all. So a few years ago.
that much anymore.
A few years ago.
And then AEW and Impact are now trying to do this inner promotion mix-up now. And so that's going on now because Kenny Omega is and now both going back and forth. Yeah. Anyways, sorry. Tangent.
Well, Kenny Omega's uncle owns TNA.
I don't know about that part, Cheryl.
WWE news update.
I really don't know. I just know that they had changed the names. I read their descriptions, and like, for example, the Pink Punch Ice to the Pink Zero said it's the same exact thing. They just changed the labeling a little bit.
Let's get into our second topic.
One at a time.
Our next topic question, and I'm kind of curious to hear some of your guys' opinions that are out there. What vape brands do you trust and why? What are those, guys?
Around the horn, Brian.
Brian, go, Brian.
Okay. Actually, I trust a lot of the DNA chips. First of all,
So
I've never had
anything with the DNA?
Correct.
Anything with
Yep.
the DNA
I haven't
chip.
had any issues with any of those. A lot of it's going to be Lost Vape stuff, though. Other devices, RDAs is a weird one because you can't like really mess it up, I guess, per se, except for O-rings, and you can always change those out, and they're dirt cheap. But I mean, that's a lot of the Lost Vape stuff is what I've been kind of defaulting to lately, and Max.
I'd be in on that.
I like that idea.
But that's gonna be tough. Like, you'd have to do like a fruit bracket, a dessert bracket, and like a menthol bracket or something. You couldn't do like fruit versus dessert, or I mean, maybe.
Yeah,
We could do that.
It's our bracket. We can do what we want.
I have an idea.
Brian's my Google Docs guy.
So okay,
He's just stats guy.
Okay,
Get that all set up.
by next week, I'm gonna make something up for this. And
It's not March yet, dude.
Okay.
We're way ahead. We can plan it out a little bit.
what he's doing is giving me a lot of time to work with this here. All right. So, anyways,
Thanks.
I'm
We
gonna
need
make-
it.
yeah, I'm gonna make a bracket for this, but we need to figure out how to figure out what juice to put in there and why. I think that's gonna take us.
Well,
a while.
I could probably pull. I could probably pull the ZampleBox rankings data.
Yeah, there you go.
And we could do like the
The
top
top
5
six.
stars, the 4 stars,
flavors,
the 3 stars.
and then have them like fight. Yeah, the top 64, or maybe
Could
it'd be
do
like
that.
top 64 versus each category. We
think
have
just
we have the
top
data. We could do
64 all together.
So, out of curiosity, could we each put in like 1 or 2 flavors in there too as a mix-up?
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean,
I
I
think
think
it'd be fun.
I think we have lots of options. You know, we could
And
pull
then at the
from
very end, we could say
all
like, "This
the
is so and
flavors
so."
all together. I mean, I even just to see other flavors, like if we had some flavors that aren't carried by ZampleBox, but people are like, this made it to the final 4 of the thing.
Yeah.
Like that'd be awesome to know for me. Like that's great information for me. I want to know that.
We're just trying to figure out how we're gonna like try these and how we're gonna bracket them, salt or non-salt or whatnot too. That's gonna be another thing.
Oh, you got to keep the salts out of the bracket.
Yeah.
Ooh, I feel like salt bracket would have to be its own thing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Upping counters.
Let's get back
Alright.
to the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we're gonna work on this.
All right.
Good idea. Thanks.
Are you done, Brian?
No.
Oh, go ahead. Oh no. Are you Brian's done?
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. I
Tim,
mean, I haven't. I mean,
He's done. Penalty box.
I'm done.
you're in the penalty box again. No forechecking in the blue zone.
Forechecking is allowed.
Not here.
No slew footing.
No sloofling.
Slew footing.
All right, Tim. What brands do you
I have so many. I don't know where to start. I would say for sure, I definitely trust anything from Steam Crave, other than their mods. Any of their addies, straight on down the line, always innovative and tried and true through all the brands. I would say from a mod perspective, probably a lot of the stuff from Dovpo. I think Dovpo makes really reasonable devices. Brian was down to the chipset. I'm all over the place there, right? It's because I have a Gene, I've got DNA, I've got Yeehee, I've got it all. Yeehee's another one. They make really good devices as well. So, but for RDAs, Vapor's Cloud, without a doubt.
Orgasm brackets.
Dude, yeah, they're gonna have to go against One Up's Orgasm, dude. I think One Up's Orgasm is probably like one of the most like. I sold that at my shop, like to everyone.
Good liquid.
People love it here at ZampleBox. I'm telling you, that's going to be a tough flavor to beat.
Samuel agrees with you, Tim.
Thank you.
How
Samuel.
about you, Anthony? I forgot your name for a cool second there.
So, my
as
top,
the kids say, for a minute.
My top vape brands that I trust. I would have to say Nicotine would be one of my number one, just in the fact that they have been one of the more reliable devices out of all of the devices that I've ever sold. They've always been a really solid, well-made, well-thought-out device that is simple to use, and I really like that. Obviously, DNA stuff, Wismec stuff, I've been a big fan of. Squid Industries, these guys make some really, really sweet, durable mods. I mean, yeah, come on, it still works.
Yeah,
things been hell, dude.
To me, I look for I look for stuff that can survive a tough day-to-day life. I don't want a device that if I forget about it in my lap in my car and I get out of my car and it hits the ground, that it's dead. I don't want it to be like that. And I also like a device that's easily, I can easily fix. The Squid Industries, we had a few people that had broke multiple parts on them. I could actually order replacement parts from Squid Industries. That's if you can get replacement parts, like I know Geek Vape does it for their Aegis now. I'm so glad to see more companies do that because, working at a shop, I know, Brian, how bad do you feel when someone comes in, they get a $150 device and they break it that first week, like whether, it was their fault, whether it was not their fault, like, it should be able to survive a little bit of damage.
Yeah, we had a on-site repair guy, or I knew of a guy that would repair stuff, and what I didn't do is just doing a quick exchange, and then we'd either send it back to the company or just he would fix it, and we'd sell it to friends of ours for like super low price.
Yeah, with Nicotine though, I think they're the company that kind of thinks about the customer. I think how the customer is going to use it, and to me, that seems like everything that I've owned from them has always been something that I didn't have to worry about. I knew it was going to work all the way from the beginning, all the way to the MVP. And to what they put out today, it just seems like it's a product that was designed for the customer. It's like they put the thought into it, how the guy's going to use it, where he's going to put it in his pocket. Everything goes into.
Yeah, I mean, the original MVP, you could charge your phone from that thing. Like they're thinking, ahead of like, hey, they're going to be carrying this, big brick of battery around. What else could they use it for? Stuff like that, I think is really, really important to think about when you're a vape manufacturer. And, then if we're getting into like tanks, to me, tanks, it really varies coil to coil, like I know the Falcon coils are one of my favorite vapes and I trust those coils, but you pretty much have to try each tank, each coil to find, what coils you actually trust. Because even like the popular tank, TFV8 Baby, one of the most popular tanks over the last 5 years, there was probably like 2 coils in there that I would say were pretty good. I'd get about 2 weeks out of them or close to that. But there's a lot of coils that, like, if you used them, you probably had a really bad experience. We had
a ZampleBox family page full of those people, dude.
Yeah. And Bernie, to your comment, that's sort of where Aegis kind of puts their hat right on durable mods that can take a bit of a pounding and drop them, get them wet. That they're made for people who are prone to those environments.
Durable clunker.
I was surprised. It surprised me that it took a company that long to figure out, okay, let's put some rubber around this mod. Let's make it
waterproof,
IPv whatever 6 it is on the damn thing. I mean, but it was funny that it took that long. But then again, you start to think about it, like you remember the original Sigelis, and that thing was a tank. and there wasn't nothing to it. It was just a
No.
piece of
It was a tray, a chip, and like 4 wires.
and you could beat the shit out of that thing, and it just kept working and working. And then it just seemed like everything from that point on after just seemed like it was hit and miss. You dropped it, you know, and you let's just take, for instance, you dropped it with the RDA on there, and it fell on the RDA. 95% of the time, that mod was toast.
Well, and that's a good point, because a big reason that I liked Anakin mod so much and why I like this mod so much is because it's not a press fit 510 connection.
Yeah.
Okay, Smoke, the most famous worst 510 press connections known to man. If you look at your tank wrong, if you have it in your pocket and you set down and your pants flex, it will probably start loosening up your 510 connection. And just, I mean, I don't know if you've ever tried to repair one of those, because it's a really simple way that they do it. It's a press fit circle, and the 510 connector comes in. It has kind of a nipple. The circle slips over it, and they use a special glue, or they use like a little bit of a solder. But the problem is, if that thing pops off, whatever material it's made out of, it's almost impossible to resolder or re-glue. Nothing sticks to it. Like, you can't make it stick to it.
I've known people who would vape at like 150 watts, if not higher, and that glue would actually loosen up. And their 510 would pop out all the time.
Yeah,
it's this constant thing that happened all the time back when like the whole cloud chasing days were there, and we were going through mods ridiculously with those glued stuff, and it was getting annoying in our shops, just because people would buy a mod, a week later they'd have the like TFV 12 or 16, or, you know, running it at 180 watts, and the bottom of the tank would get so warm, and so with the mod it wasn't getting rid of any of the heat.
It wasn't dissipating.
Right. So what I did was I actually ended up getting these really cheap like heat sinks with the fins on them.
Yeah, the heat sinks. Remember the heat sinks?
Yeah, and I actually put those between the mods, and people had no problems because those heat sinks would dissipate the heat. They'd have to
Was
crank
it
it up
from
a little
the
bit higher.
Vulcan tank? Did you have the ones from the Vulcan RDA?
No, it was ones I got off like Fast Tech for like
Fast Tech had them.
Even better.
They're all aluminum, and I still have a bunch of them here somewhere, different colors. People would buy all these different colors, and it would actually worked on the mods and all that stuff. It helped with all the heat dissipation. It helped with keeping the 510 connections on there. It was the weirdest thing ever, and people loved them. Except for them made their tank stand up like, you know, this tall.
Tommy boy, what brand do you trust?
Anakin, for all the reasons you guys have already said. No need to beat that horse dead.
Yeah.
Davpo, they've been doing some really good stuff lately. Aspire, they've been around for.
I'd have to add Aspire to that list too. Aspire has been around for so long and it's done it right for so long.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are my main go-tos now.
Nice.
Lost Vape, of course.
Yeah, Lost Vape. The problem with Lost Vape is they just don't make enough.
No, they don't.
They don't. I think they're that one company that goes, okay, let's make 10,000 and screw everybody else out of it.
Right.
It's just
after we're done with that 10 grand, we'll figure out something else to make.
We're done.
Yeah, it's kind of like a limited supply thing, you know. But they're almost like what's that T-shirt brand? Supreme, you know.
Supreme,
like, Supreme. They release a shirt, and it's like, okay, we release this shirt, but there's only 500 of them. You know? So like, you got to get in on it, and like that's how like the first Orion. Like I don't think they thought it was going to be so popular, and then it was like, no one can get Orions, and then they're like, oh. Okay, we're going to send another batch, and we're going to make the Orion Plus.
Yeah, I think they were shocked by that whole Orion thing. It almost feels like they didn't think that was going to take off, and then all of a sudden they were just like, "Oh shit, we got to make more of these." Because that was the one thing. Like anytime their dual mods would come out, I knew better. I ordered right away because I knew I wasn't going to get one. And then they do the same thing with their accessories. Their doors and stuff. If you don't grab those doors right away, you're done. You're not going to get those doors. You're just not. You're not going to.
I feel like part of their other challenge too is it's like with anything else, you know. I mean, as soon as something hits the shelves and it becomes ready for the consumers, it's already somewhat obsolete. It's like the designers are already coming up with the next thing, whether it's really innovative or not. So it's like, why keep pumping stuff back through the pipeline and making boatloads more when they know they're getting ready to drop a new one that's slightly different than the one before it?
Well, look at their what was the God, I can't remember the name of it, but what was their mod that Lost Vape came out with that had the 3 batteries that kind of looked like
Triad.
the Triad. That thing
have that.
like fucking crazy, and they just there wasn't a supply. There wasn't enough out there for people.
That was $100 and something mod too.
Yeah,
That wasn't a cheapie.
Like
that was $150. It's got a DNA on it.
I liked it, but it sat like this at the top and it bothered me.
Yeah.
What?
But it came up to that 510.
Yeah, it had
510 was at like this peak.
Yeah, but if you get yourself an Asgard and throw it on there, you won't have that problem. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
But they did the same thing with that mod. That was so popular, and everybody wanted that stupid mod, and it was gone. It's like they only made so many of them, and if you didn't grab them in time, you just didn't get it. You know, that was it with Lost Vape, and they've done that with a couple of their products, and it drives me crazy.
The other one I like is Asmodus.
Yes, Asmodus.
Asmodus has got a good reputation.
Good stuff. You know, modern has a good point. You know, he's like, my Nord X has a Type C charger, and the Nord 2 is a regular USB. I gotta say, I'm so happy that we're finally going away from micro USB. Micro USB sucks compared to USB-C.
Yeah, I'm glad that a lot of companies, headphone companies are finally switching to Type C, and I just love it. I mean, you know, for the Bluetooth headphones, it's finally, I'm like, God, I can't take this. And I had to buy a whole bunch of stupid cords. I was like, this is stupid. I got a couple, I don't have any more of the regular USB micro, whatever you want to call it, and now I got all this stuff with Type C, and I don't have no cords for it. Oh,
well, just get an Android, get a Samsung phone, and you got a cord for everything. Comes out.
I have my Note 10, 12.
Bernie was here for the Coom juice.
Oh yeah, the Coom video.
That's funny. I had a meeting today. We were actually just talking about that video.
Yeah. I believe Bernie was asking last week where ZampleBot was.
Oh yeah, he's right there behind Anthony.
About his pending murder trial and all that, and we're like, we can't talk about that.
Oh yeah. But he's a robot, so first they got to prove that he's a person. Then they can put him in jail. But
he's
now they can prove he's a person. Then
actually, you don't have to prove he's a person.
He's actually working for Google now. He's an AI.
He's the fact checker on Facebook.
Wait. If Apple made a mod, wait. We were talking about this the other day. What was the price of those headphones, John, that Apple's putting out?
$550. They're new.
$550.
$550
for headphones.
John, when I saw those, I was like, oh, I thought they were going to have ear pods you could take out. And it was like you'd have the headphone and then your ear pod would come out, because I was like, oh, that would be cool. I would maybe pay $550, but just to find out it's a regular headphone.
Yeah. No, I don't get that price structure for that device. And that device is, I'm going to give it to Apple. They're smart. They know exactly what they're doing.
People are going to buy it.
They're going to buy it. They sold out on that thing in the first day.
Are they really?
So they're gone. You can't get them. They were gone the first day. The first day they were sold out.
Not surprised.
And I mean, I get what they're doing. And if you are in the Apple ecosystem, okay, it makes sense to own those. But they're not going to work very well. You're going to lose a lot of the features if you have a Samsung device, or an Android device, I should say. You're not going to be able to use a lot of the features. I don't like the fact that you can't shut them off. So they stay on constantly unless you put them in that little carry case. And that carry case, I guess, somehow has a setting in it. So when you put them in there, it shuts them off.
But
otherwise,
they call it a purse.
Yeah, the purse.
It looks like a
bra.
purse.
Some say it looks like a bra with the straps on it. And they're not stupid. They know what they're doing. I mean,
no knock to the Apple ecosystem fans out there. I can't justify $500+ on a headset.
Sorry, to me,
ugly as hell. It's ugly.
If those were some, Tim probably has put on a great set of studio headphones. I'm sure he has in his days in music, but I mean, there's a difference between a high grade studio headphone that I would pay $540 or $550 for compared to a Bluetooth headphone that I can't add a preamp to.
Yeah, no preamp. Like
no preamp, you know. So
any other headphone in that price point has multiple functionality to, you know, plug into a jack, plug into an amp, you know, plug into your guitar. Like this is just Bluetooth.
You can't amplify the audio from that device, and there's no headphone jack, so it's Bluetooth only. Okay, why are we talking about?
No, I was saying we just
topic.
It was a parallel to state that we wouldn't be able to afford an Apple-made vape device. That was the point.
You know, it'd be funny. I bet you the device would be affordable, but the Apple Pods to the replacement pods, that's where they would get you.
Well, yeah, that's how they get you. They get you with the accessories. I mean, Apple's known for that. I mean, I mean, look, they stopped giving everyone the chargers. They're like, fuck you guys. There's enough chargers out there. You guys should have one already.
Country just overturned that and just making them include chargers.
They should.
Yeah, come on,
bastards. Fucking. Oh man.
All right, next topic
tonight.
Next question. Next question.
All right, don't get upset, guys. With this one here.
Ooh, this
what
is a
would
good
you
one.
give up to save the vaping industry? So basically, guys, I mean, if the FDA said, okay, hey, we'll take this, and this, but you're going to lose this. What are you willing to give up to save the industry, to save flavors? And Tim's got his hand up. We're going to let Tim go first.
Procreation.
Procreation.
Oh.
I would just stop having children, and then that way we wouldn't have this argument anymore. No.
Wait, so they're like, Tim, if you don't have children, we won't ban vaping.
Exactly. I would just give up any new pitter patter of little feet on this planet. No. You know what? That's a tough one. I'm going to let somebody else go first. I want to hear answers before I give mine.
I got one.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Anthony. I forgot your name again.
What? Okay, does it have to be like something that we think that they want, or something that? Okay.
You know, it's something that they want. They have
reasonable taxation and reasonable regulation.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, what?
Yeah.
That's what I get. I mean, if it was something more extreme, then okay, maybe I would say I would give up, you know, probably disposables. You know, no disposables. Why? If that's such a problem, or maybe there was a device size limit, you know, like if they're like, hey, you know, too many kids are using devices because they're this size or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be something that I would be willing to, like, sure, we could switch over to only having, you know, 18650 size device or something, you know.
Snip, Bill. Snip.
I mean, I was thinking kind of the same way you were thinking, Anthony, as far as the disposables, but I think taking away from the C stores. I think that's a huge. That would be a huge. It would save the community as far as the vape shops, because I think I would put my trust in the vape shop, making sure to check ID.
Now, if you went that far, though, would you make it that C shops can no longer sell tobacco products?
No, because they would never give it. Because that's probably I know a buddy of mine that has a store, and that is about 40% of his profit.
It's really like, is he a gas station too, or is it just like a corner
station?
Store?
It's a gas station, but people will come in for gas, but they're buying cigarettes.
And that's where,
it's a huge portion of his income is that and candy.
See,
candy.
To me, if they were like, okay, it has to be in a specialty tobacco vapor store, I would be in on that. Like that, to me, that is something that I think would prevent children from getting it. You know, like I'm all for reasonable regulations that are after what your goal is. You know, if their goal is to prevent children from getting vapes, then let's talk about real things that would prevent that. You know, not having cigarettes in a grocery store.
What do you think if they were to take the tobacco product out of the C store and make it sold in a vape shop? So vape and tobacco in the same shop.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be just a tobacco shop. It could be like a tobacco specialty shop. I mean,
Right.
most likely, if it had to be that way, they would probably do both. You know, you would probably
Yeah.
be a
Well,
smoke
kind of
and
like,
vape shop.
I know not all states have them. I think there's a few that have liquor stores.
Mhm.
I think like Pennsylvania, I think Washington, right? Washington or Oregon is a liquor. You can only buy hard liquor in a liquor store.
Texas has them.
Now, you know, so Bill, he says he disagrees because smokers are first most likely to give a cheap device a try from a C-store
Right.
gas station. But you got to think, Bill, in this situation, there's no tobacco available at that C-store gas station. So they have to go to a specialty store.
Right. Well, there's no education there. The guy at the C-store doesn't give a shit if he sees you tomorrow and you come back 2 weeks later to buy that.
And he's not going to be able to tell you how to set up even
Right.
a simple pod system.
He's not going to ask you whether you're a 2-pack a day smoker, were you a 1-pack a day smoker. He's not going to be able to ask you that question. He doesn't care. All he cares about is he got that sale at that moment. He's not going to care whether you come back 2 weeks from now to buy that same product. Where the vape shop is going to make sure and educate you and give you the advice that you need to be successful in quitting smoking.
Yeah, because I mean, I think, you know, he's right in the fact that, yeah, you know, the smaller, simple, cheap devices are getting people, you know, they're an important part to the vape community. Like, I don't want to cut them out because I think they're getting a ton of older smokers into it. But I think if it was cut, you know, and there was no C-stores, no gas station that had those products and they had to go to a specialty store, it would prevent youth from getting them more. And, you know, the vapors would generally be better educated.
Yeah. I mean, Bill, how are things there in Canada? I mean, when you walk into a C-store there in Canada, are there vape devices all over the place there? I mean, I've never been in any of those shops there. I mean, I don't know what their gas stations look like in there. I mean, do you walk in it? Are there like we have here where there's just a bunch of disposables all right next to tobacco products? I mean, I don't know how it is over there. Because I don't see... That's the problem, because I don't see a guy walking into a convenience store and buying a setup, a mod, a tank. That's not going to happen. He's going to buy your what do you call this thing? This fucking thing. I don't know what it's called.
A disposable.
It's just more likely than he's going to say buy a mod, a tank, and batteries.
Tom, what would you give up? What one Wisconsin thing would you give up?
Cheese.
Oh, fuck no.
Yeah, no, he's definitely not giving up cheese. Come on.
No, I'm not giving up cheese.
They might kick him out of Wisconsin if he said that on air.
They absolutely would.
Okay. Besides the cigarettes, no.
Honestly, I would give, as long as we had reasonable taxes and regulations, of course, a nicotine cap at 30.
Yeah, and some people that can actually count ballots.
Well, we ain't going there.
It has nothing to do with vaping.
We're staying on topic. But disposables, they have a place in C-stores for, as Bill's saying, you know, the person that
impulse buys.
Yeah. But see, this is the thing. Okay, this is where I want to get with
I don't necessarily agree with it, because the C-stores do need to card people if they think they are under 21.
Yeah, and you know,
better.
And I think that could be different, though. Maybe instead of removing the products from C-stores, maybe if we actually spent the money that we're supposed to spend on tobacco cessation, prevention, and control, you know, like the liquor control board that's coming in and sending in, you know, secret shoppers. Why don't we just send in some more of those so that we can weed out the people that aren't doing it properly, you know?
Well, here's my thing with the impulse buyer. I get that. I understand that the guy that's standing in line might just decide that, hey, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. But I would love to see the success rate of that individual as far as coming back and buying that product again. Because I don't think it's there. Am I right, Anthony? I think it's just like, oh, I'll try this.
Well, John, my results are a little bit skewed because I was a vape shop, and I mean, I'm pretty awesome. So of course, I converted everyone. They came in,
exactly.
they left the vape.
That's what I'm saying. At the vape shop, you're going to get the education that you need compared to that guy at the C-store doesn't give a shit.
You know, so Brian sees it. He, you know, working in a vape shop, we do get people that went into a C-store, randomly picked up a disposable, and they're like, huh, this worked. That's weird. Yeah. And then, you know, they might have went back to the C-store and they like asked the guy a couple questions, you know, and he's like, I don't know. And so then they went to that next step where they're like, oh, I need to find the specialty shop. So, I mean, I think there is some definitely, you know, some merit to that argument, because I had a ton of people that came from, you know, I just picked up a random vape at a smoke shop and now I'm here, you know, and you know, they quit smoking. They started vaping. I would never want someone to not quit smoking because they didn't find that path, you know? Yeah. So I think there definitely is merit to having them there as the impulse buy, but I think we would have to have, you know, either a higher fine for being caught sold to minors, or maybe we just have a better education program to the C-stores, or the C-stores have, or the liquor control board has like a, you know, a better way to police
these fear. They need fear.
Yeah, because right now they don't have the funding. And as someone that has gotten secret shopped, you know, here in Washington, our attorney general here, he just busted like 170 online vape shops. I don't know if I meant to send you that article today, Tim. It popped up late last night.
You mean Bill didn't get a wind of that too? Bill knows every article that hits the friggin'...
So he busted those 170, but the liquor control board in Washington and they're also the tobacco board or whatever that comes in secret shops. They have a routine, and it's not hard to understand. It comes in with an older gentleman or an older person and a younger person. The younger person says, hey, can I get a strawberry flavor? And then you go, hey, we have lots of strawberry flavors. What kind of strawberry flavor do you want? And they go, strawberry. And so you pull them one and you say, hey, can I see your ID? And you go, no, I don't have it. And then, you know, that person comes up and is like, good job, you passed. But they do that on every single shop, every single time. They follow the same script. It's not, you know, it's not hard to figure out. It's not hard to be like, okay, if you see two people walking at the same time, one person asks you for a flavor, doesn't care anything about the flavor, you should probably ID them. Like, it should be, you know, it should be like maybe even like the vape shops are coming up with the ways to secret shop each other, you know, because, you know, Brian, I know, like, he knows how it would slip through in his shop. He knows like the right way that if the person came in on the wrong day with the wrong people working, like this is how it could possibly slip through. And like, that's how we should be testing. We shouldn't be testing with like, well, let's go in there and just give them, you know, like the easiest.
They should be using the same thing that applies to cigarettes. If you look under 35, I'm going to card you. And that's the way it is here. I mean, I see the signs everywhere. If you look under 35,
under 40.
Yeah, you're getting carded. Can you answer that question there?
No, Anthony? Cheese. We ain't.
No, but they will be coming out with a poutine flavor.
Oh,
you know, there was a flavor. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but there was a flavor I got a while back, and I swear we used it as like our shop death flavor. So like if one of your employees or your coworkers was pissing you off, this was the flavor you'd go drop in the top of their tank, and it tasted like macaroni and cheese, but like bad macaroni and cheese, not good.
Well, I'm sure they're going to come out with milk in the bag flavor.
Oh, no.
I regret sending you that picture.
Milk in the bag flavor.
Bill would know about that, though.
Yeah, milk in the bag.
I have a question on this question, though. Like, if we gave up something for the industry, would we get stuff in return?
You know, you're never getting nothing. It's the same thing that applies. I remember my dad telling me years ago when I was a kid, he says, well, if your company ever tells you that to take a lower wage to save the company, don't take it, because you're never going to see that money back ever again. You're never going to get a raise again to come back. And I've always used the same philosophy for anything that you give, you're never going to get back. And once they figure they can take from you, they're always going to take more. I mean, that's what makes it hard, is like, what are you willing to give up? And to me, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see all the disposables taken away, and I would like to see just if possible just a store that sold vape gear and cigarettes, and just take the cigarettes out of the convenience stores and just say, hey, you have not been responsible enough to sell this product.
Is there a type of flavor that you guys would trade? Like if they were like, hey,
no,
you guys can keep everything the same, but what if it was like no candy flavors, no sour, no like super sweet,
and I would tell them, then you take away every goddamn sweet flavor that Starbucks has on their fucking menu, and then I'll take mine away. And you see how many of those, who the hell?
Well, and what about the flavored vodkas? Because I could go buy Sour Patch Kids vodka tonight. I could get whipped cream, birthday cake.
Yeah, can you imagine the uproar? Not just Starbucks, but Pete's and everybody else. Can you imagine the uproar that society would go through if they said, we're going to take away all flavored fucking coffee? Because kids are drinking too much coffee.
There'd be riots in the streets.
They would be riots in the street, and that's the same thing I tell people all the time.
Do you guys?
But we like flavors.
Huh?
Do you guys? Do any of you guys drink your coffee black?
I do.
Put creamer in it, bro.
All the time.
In the morning, I have
At
one
least
cup
creamer.
of black.
Come on.
Yeah, I have 1 cup of black coffee in the morning, and that's just black and sugar. And then the rest of the day, it's some sort of like
Tom's
I'll put some salted caramel macchiato.
So you start your day just hating your life with a really bitter
Yeah,
coffee, like, and then you're like, man, I need some caramel or something.
Yeah. I'll put the Italian creamer in there, or those flavored things, the cream. I don't know what they're called, but they're just like a cream.
Creamer.
Yeah, it's not a creamer, but it's just like the flavoring. It's like a.
You're talking about like where they'd have just like the syrup, the flavor.
The syrup, the syrup. Yeah, I'll put a teaspoon of that in there, and then some Italian cream.
I drink it the way it comes out of the pot.
You know,
I can't drink it black all day.
And bitter.
Bernie brings up a good point.
Yeah.
Did you see his comment there?
Yeah.
No, not Bill. We've seen enough of Bill's. Bernie's turn.
Bernie's.
Or
Nothing
guillotine.
you can ever do is say vaping. Yeah, there isn't.
I mean, it's hard to argue that.
Yeah, it is.
Very, very hard to argue that. But we're kind of going on the what if game tonight. We're coming into legislation season, so they're going to be throwing out all sorts of horrible ideas. So what are the ones that you would be like, okay, I'll give in and let that slide?
I think the only thing that I would be willing to give up is milligrams.
That would be my final answer beyond procreation. Would be the nic cap, and the only reason why I go with the nic cap is because I think tobacco harm reduction should be effectively available in all different forms across the board, if that's really what the end goal is here. But with the milligram levels, I honestly, even though you might have a truly addicted smoker, right? I mean, just somebody who's 2, 3, 4 packs. And Juuls, I'm using them as an example because they're not the only ones. I'm just using them as a reference point. Is that they came out of the gate with 50 milligram nic salts. Okay, yeah. I don't think that even the worst smoker in the world needs 50 milligrams to help them to quit smoking. I think that even an average smoker could handle anywhere between 24 and say maybe 36, because in my mind's eye, at the crux of the argument and the kids addicted to vaping and all this other stuff is, what are most of them vaping? Juuls. And so they're getting ramped up.
They don't really care about the flavor. No, the flavor's not good on Juuls. Like, come on.
Well, that and the fact that they may be taken down now, but you can do a simple search. They may still exist. There were videos on YouTube from like high school kids giving tutorials on how to get the best buzz off of a Juul. That had nothing to do with flavor. It had nothing to do with any of the stigma around it. It was like, hey, we figured out that it can get you pretty wired pretty quick. So you take a 50 milligram device, and I'm going to show you how to like hyperventilate on it, basically, and get yourself zonked out of your gourd. So I don't know that 24 and 36 gets them out of that realm. But I certainly don't think the smoker who's trying to quit needs a 50 milligram nic salt available. That would be
what is
me.
the full pack? The full pack of cigarettes is 25 milligrams, correct? The
Yes.
full
No.
No.
I mean, I think that's 25 milligrams per cigarette.
And it's like 15. It's actually like 12 to 26 milligrams per cigarette.
Okay, I always thought it was the whole pack was 25 milligrams.
No, I've always used standard 12 with it at all times.
Yeah, it really varies on what type of tobacco and like a few other options, but yeah, anywhere from like 12 to 25 milligrams per cigarette.
Per cigarette. Okay, I always thought it was the whole pack.
You got to think with nicotine. If we're comparing, say, a 24 milligram, that's 24 milligrams per milliliter. So, if you're smoking one cigarette and you're trying to get equal nicotine, you would vape 1 milliliter. But obviously there's also a little bit of variance in that too, because some nicotine is lost in the vaporization process. There's also some nicotine lost just from sitting on the shelf. So there is, slight variances. And I think a big factor too is, the additives in tobacco. With here in vaping, you're just getting nicotine. I mean, yeah, you're getting PG, VG in the flavoring, but you're not getting MOI inhibitors and you're not getting benzoic acid, unless you're using a Juul, and you're not getting those other things, which really, before I switched over to vaping, I had switched over to a natural tobacco. So it was all natural pipe tobacco, no additives. The biggest thing I noticed was I wasn't getting that big buzz. I wasn't getting like that high satisfaction feeling. And what I really, really come to find out and come to think of it is it's the MAOI inhibitors, the benzoic acid, all of those specialty additives that are giving you that ramped up feeling. And that's like a big thing of switching over to vaping is like, okay, like, wow, nicotine doesn't necessarily make me high feeling. It just makes me feel satisfied. I don't necessarily have to have like a hard buzz going.
Okay, don't get mad at this next question.
I didn't get an answer to the previous question.
Okay.
So okay. So I would give up C-stores, but I would add in we get bars.
You get a bar?
We get bars.
Yeah, 20. Okay. I mean, we're 21 up. We could have vape. We had a couple of vape bars here in Washington. We actually have one that's still semi-open, kind of. They switched after the big vape tax. They opened half up to like a tap bar is half of their store, and the other half is vape shop. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea. Like having a whole lounge atmosphere.
I think what's his name started one
because most smokers they usually drink and they usually smoke heavily when they drink.
Had a vape bar where you can drink wine and alcohol and beers or different types of.
We also get those vending machines in all the bars too. Put all the disposables in there and all that stuff there, so people can just get it not discreetly.
You can't have vending machines.
No.
In North Dakota, you still can. You can still have tobacco vending machines.
Good job, North Dakota. That's why we're having all these problems.
Inside the bar, still stuck in like the 80s.
I lost John. Oh my god.
Right, but our vending machines are inside a bar. Like you have to go inside the bar, get carded in order to actually.
Yeah, but like, do they serve like family? Like, is it like a family bar where you could go in until like 8 o'clock or whatever, and kids could be in there? Because that's like we had them in Washington. That was the problem. Was like. We have some bars that are family until 6 o'clock or whatever, and then the kids would like go in there during that time and toss $10 in the machine and get some cigarettes.
They used to do. I used to do that at the bowling alley when I couldn't get cigarettes because they wouldn't sell to me. I would go to the bowling alley because they had the machine in there.
Mm-hmm.
Just go in there.
But not only in the bars, like we don't get machines, but we also are able to set up like a vape section there to help those to from smoking to vaping and help them at night and all that stuff where they can be around who are like adults, so they're not like whatever type thing.
I mean, I know we're in COVID right now, Brian, but I'm telling you, when bars open back up for you guys, that's where I did so much advertising for our shop because when I first started, it was like right when I turned 21, 22. And so I'd be at the bar fairly regularly, and I just bring discount coupons and pass them out to people because they're like, "Hey, what's that smell? What's that weird thing you're doing?"
That's where I did all my advertising too. Is actually I was one of the managers in town where I would actually go to different bars like once or twice a week and go talk to people outside who are smoking and so that and have a few drinks with them, and I would actually get a lot of repeat business just by doing that and just chit chatting with people.
Yeah, because people are like, they're a little bit loosened up from the drinks, and they're not feeling like you're trying to sell them something. You're just sitting there vaping, and now they're asking you questions about it. Like,
especially if you buy them a drink. Say, hey, can I buy you a drink and sit and chat? Sure.
Can I buy you a drink and you come drop $150 at my shop?
Yep, exactly. Absolutely. It worked out great.
Oh, here's our next question. If the industry were to move to online sales only nationwide to save flavors, would you consider that a win for the industry? The only reason I bring that up is because that seems like the way the FDA is wanting to go with this. But then you also have like the mail bill. That's bill. I can't remember the number. Tim does it.
S1253.
S1253. How would you guys feel about that? If we were to save our flavors, save everything that we have as far as vaping is concerned, but we were not going to have any more vape shops. Everything would have to be through sales online. So the shops, I think, could still make their money if
it would murder the shops.
It would murder shops. It would murder.
That immediately, the day that would pass, we would have thousands of people out of work. Yeah. And to me, like, the shops are the front lines of educating our vapors, getting new vapors into the funnel of quitting smoking. So if we did that, I think we would be doing a huge disservice to not only ourselves, but to the vapor community as a whole, because, that's where vaping started. Vaping is a grassroots thing that has been started by, just average Joes that quit smoking with vaping and were like, hey, this is a great idea. Other people should try quitting smoking with this. They start a vape shop, and now some of those vape shops have exploded into juice companies and to like these larger things that are, people's livelihoods are dependent on this thing. And we're out here trying to get people off of smoking. Like, we shouldn't be cutting any jobs, especially in COVID times. Like, this is not the time to be closing down any more businesses, especially small ones.
Right. Exactly.
Here's my issue with that too, is that when I worked at shops, I actually made it so my employees would only use juice that we had and devices that we had. And the reason why I did that is because if the customers had questions about that device, they could show them right then and there, had no issues with it. They could show them how it works, how well it vapes, all that stuff. And then the same thing with the juice. They can show them how well it actually tasted on certain builds, on certain tanks, and all that stuff. And that was actually the greatest marketing thing that we did. It was because it wasn't like me being dictated. Like, you can leave your stuff there, vape whatever outside of work, I don't care. But in the shop, just use that.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, the customer wants to buy what's in your hand because they see you using it. They know that you're obviously are the number one on product, and they trust that you're using it. I mean, there's been so many times where I'm like, no, like, there's no need for you to get this. Like, it's your day vaping. You do not need this. But just because I'm using it, they're like, that's the one to get. I need that.
Bernie brings up a good point too, because they already have an issue with that as far as kids purchasing products from online shops. Where's everybody doing the hand thing all of a sudden?
Back to the Attorney General here in Washington, just busted 172. And what's interesting in that article is there's a list of things that you have to follow in Washington. So, like, in Washington, it has to be age. You have to have a signature on delivery. You have to age verify. You have to have like so many steps. The 172 people they busted were doing none of them. Not even one step. They weren't even checking their age.
One of the places that got fined from Washington was actually in my hometown.
I did see. I saw a North Dakota company on there.
It was Minnesota, and that was North Dakota, Minnesota, and they got fined $7,000.
Yeah,
but see, I think there is some merit to that though, and that is something that maybe gets a little overlooked. Is have increasing fines. If a store gets busted the first time, you give them $1,000 slap on the hand. And then if they continue to repeat that process and they're found to be selling to minors, then you start hitting them harder in the pocket. Eventually, that's going to, make them wake up, I mean, but there are things that we'll never be able to control as far as the kids are concerned. We cannot stop 21-year-old Bobby going to the thing and buying his little 16-year-old brother, a vape device. You know, so I mean, there's things that you cannot
are out of our control. Yeah. Why do we pretend that these are things that aren't happening? Like when you go to a hearing at your Capitol, a lot of times, they'll have kids from the school and they'll be talking like, oh, kids are vaping heroin in the bathrooms and whatever. Okay, but let's talk about some real things that are happening in high schools.
Yeah.
Kids are getting addicted to opiates regularly. Kids are smoking pot. Kids are using alcohol. Kids are using tobacco, because that's what happens when you're a kid. We have to understand there's going to be, no matter what we do, if we lock down everything as much as possible, like you said, somebody's older brother is going to be like, I don't give a fuck about that. Sure, here you go.
Everybody's got an uncle. Everybody's got an uncle that's going to do it for him. Everyone's got a cousin.
And right now, our uncle ST Vapes is in chat.
Yeah,
ST Vapes. Oh, what's up?
Hey, buddy.
Uncle ST.
What is up, ST? Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing that makes me laugh, is because a lot of these politicians, it's just like, come on, man. I know you're old. And I'm old. I'm not pretending like I'm not, but most of these guys are in their late 60s or early 70s and 80s. Some of them are in their 80s. They were kids. They found a way to buy stuff. You're always going to find a way. Everybody's got that uncle. Everybody's got that bum that's hanging out at the alley.
Hey, mister. Yeah, but you hang out and hey, mister, someone will sell to you.
Someone's going to sell to you.
And not to mention the fact that the kids are not stupid. They're not dumb. And even if you take it out of the mainstream for the kids, they've already figured out the black market and the back channels to get shit. I mean, not that they were doing this. I mean, I'm sure there was some of that going on, but remember when the Valley thing broke loose and then
Twitter, Snapchat.
It was all, they weren't selling. They weren't selling out of dispenser. Well, some, yes, but not to the degree that people were getting.
Kids are buying them on Snapchat. They're not going into stores. There's a few stores that they might slip through and they might get something. Sure. Yeah, that's going to happen. There's going to be a few people that they slip through and they don't get carded. But the main channels were, social channels that are unseen to regulators and to parents.
Well, not to mention, I mean, there was a story that was out there that was the kids, because John and I have talked about this on several occasions, and say, even if it was down to Juul, how the F does a teenager support that kind of monetary habit when you're talking about, $15 and they're going to 2 pods a day. 2 pods a day. They come in 4-packs, and you're paying $14 to $16 for a 4-pack. I don't know too many kids that have that kind of liquid cash that they can go out and buy that stuff. No, what the kids were doing is they were getting knockoff universal pods online, probably from Wish or Alibaba or some other weird thing. And they were putting their own juices or injecting them with God knows what, and then selling them out of their backpacks at schools for $5 a pop. So they're already beating the system without it having to be mainstream. So, it's just obvious that the ants and the law and the politicians are going after a specific element because it's hurting someone else's pocket.
Yeah, and I really think, we're putting children on these pedestals that all children are these sweet little angels, and they're not going to get into any trouble, and they're just going to go to school and they're going to do their homework. But let's be real. We were all kids. None of us were that kid, let's look in the mirror and talk about real things that kids are doing and talk about real ways to stop them from doing.
I mean, I
pretend.
When I was 16, I still figured out a way to get those 240s of King Cobra every Friday night. I was going to get them no matter what it was. Whether it was going to cost me an extra $5 or $6, I was going to get them.
As a kid, I gave legit no fucks about nothing.
No. We had Mad Dog 2020 night.
Yeah, let's jump into the news with Mr. Tim Smith real quick. And here we go. Let's give Tim his bumper. The show is all yours, Tim.
All right. So normally on most occasions, I usually do 2 articles which are substantial with information. it's been my experience, like in the last 3 to 4 weeks, and I don't know if this, like Anthony said, it's legislation season, but I feel like advocacy is on the plate for tonight. So everything that I'm going to talk about this evening has everything to do with advocacy, and I think that it. Yep, and I think it's something that as vapors we all should be doing, no matter how hopeless we might feel at times. Because I feel like the louder voices in the room sometimes get heard. Now, that's not in any way to say it's a parallel to what happened in California. Congratulations, California! You guys are out of the woods.
Thank you.
Until November of 2022, I believe.
22.
Right. So you guys, the voters, get to vote whether or not they want this flavor ban.
But that doesn't include a federal thing could still screw you guys.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course.
Let's take that with a grain of salt. I'm super pumped, but the feds could still get us.
Hey, Anthony, don't make me go get a beer. Don't make me get another beer.
And I would just to lump on top of that pile. I would just say, frankly, the point is that people did use their voices, whether they were by the power of a signature or not. And yes, it was mostly funded by Big Tobacco because they're precious. Menthol cigarettes were being challenged. Vapors got involved and signed that petition, so they did play a part. So but tonight is all about advocacy. So I want to bring up a few articles, and I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. Colorado. John, if you'd like to share that. I don't know what's going on in Colorado, and no, they're not trying to ban that guy with the cloud in his face, because I mean that may be one thing that gets us noticed is when we do shit like that, and we're supposed to be quitting smoking, but instead we try to make ourselves look like the My Pillow guy, but with the pillow on his head.
Maybe he was doing a magic trick, Tim.
You never know. He's trying to make his head disappear. So it seems like there's a lot of activity ramping up in Colorado, and this one addresses, and this is still very fresh, so there's very little information about it. There's no timelines. But it looks like Denver, Colorado is now heavily considering an all-out flavor ban, or a ban on flavored vaping products and menthol cigarettes, tobacco items, and things like that. So this was a December 11th article, and again, there's no timeline. They just say that the council is talking about it right now. But this ban would include menthol cigarettes, flavored vapor products, and flavored cigars, among other products. So there's all kinds of things on the chopping block with that one. Tristan Sanders, who is, I guess, one of the people that's part of this committee, he's the public health manager. His commentary behind why they're looking into stuff like this, and Bill can support us with more more details if he has them. The biggest area of concern for them is that what they're saying is 1 in 5 kids uses vape products regularly. And this was from a survey done by Healthy Kids Colorado. Now, again, with these survey numbers, they're not identifying whether or not these kids are daily users. This could be some kid who tried it once in the last 30 days and never did it again. We don't know if they're vaping zero nic. They're just generalizing, and I thought you ran out of Modelo. But at any rate, but that's one of their angles as to why they're approaching this. So this is comprehensive, and it's in motion right now. So what I would say to the people in Denver is keep your head on a swivel, keep your radar up, get ready to mobilize on any calls to action in your town, pay attention to CASA, things of that nature, because if there is an open commentary period, whether it be by email or blowing up a phone line or getting on a Zoom meeting or something like that, make sure that you carve out some of your life to make yourself heard if they give you that particular angle to do so, because Denver, you could be under a flavor ban before too long. And I don't, again, there's no timeline on this, so I don't know if they're going to a vote next week. Just pretend like they're going to vote on this shit tomorrow and get in people's ears early. So if you know who your local representatives are in Colorado, in Denver, give them a call, send them an email, tell them you heard about this and you're not happy about it. So that's number one. Denver, you're on the clock.
John?
Yes, sir.
Denver? John Denver?
John Denver. Don't make me start singing John Denver songs.
John Denver. Okay.
You said Denver, so
I was a little
said
confused there, John Denver. All right, the next one is, and I don't know in relativity where this place is, and how close it is to Denver, but maybe there's something in the water. But the Loveland, Colorado City Council was debating over a similar flavor ban here pretty recently. This was as early as this month. They actually had a first pass on this and the current bill as it was written. However, starting around the beginning of December, they started having public commentary periods. So I don't know the format for how people were allowed. And these darn thingies that flip and flop. It looks like Joan Jett right there in that top articles thing. Anyway, that was a tangent.
You should share my screen because mine is all ZampleBox ads.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It is, Anthony. I'm not kidding you.
I have not looked at American Family Insurance at all, so I don't know why that one's coming up. But at any rate, so as of the 1st of December, they were in a heated public commentary period that included, this is 3+ hours, so they had all kinds of people in their ears, this committee, city council, whoever they are. It was 3+ hours of commentary from not only local residents, retailer representatives, anti-smoking campaigns, and the tobacco industry was involved. And we all know why the tobacco industry is in there, because they're touching the tobacco products.
Yep.
And we all know that they've got money to fight these particular things. I'm not saying we coattail off of them. I'm just saying they're going to be there because, again, this is affecting their pockets.
Well, it's the menthol cigarette, right? Menthol cigarettes?
Menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars. I don't know how those tap into the cigarette industry. I don't know if tobacco is doing the cigar part, but that said, that's why tobacco industry is there. If anyone spends any time on Twitter and you're tapped into the vaping community, or at least the cycle of people who are usually the loudest on there, you'll see Charles Gardner on there. I think he lists himself here. It's right here. He described himself as a neurobiologist with a background in public health. He is constantly on Twitter. However, he was part of this particular public commentary period, and I'm going to guess that's because he might be from Colorado. I don't know. I don't know where his residence is. But he argued that the ban would not achieve the goal of reducing the use of vaping products among teens. And I think that some of that argument is true in the sense that if you take away the vaping, they're just going to go to the next thing if they haven't already moved on to it already. We already know that there is no specific hard link between youth vaping and taking up smoking combustible tobacco. That by the numbers, that has not been proven. But I do think that if you take away the vaping, that's not to say the kids should have the vaping, but if you take it away, they're just going to find the next thing, and they're just going to be on to the next.
What happened when vaping wasn't available for us?
Yeah, what were they doing?
We'll be smoking.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you're just gonna create more harms, and to substantiate that commentary, if you take it away and people just really want that, they're going to find a way. They're going to go to the black market, and you're going to jeopardize them even further because they're going to be getting unsafe stuff that they may not know, or trying to DIY at home and running over to the local grocery store and who knows buying what to put flavoring in it. So at any rate, and then this was, again, really short, but at the pressing of the article, the debate was still moving forward. So Loveland, get ready to advocate. However, but wait, there's more to this story.
Selling us.
But wait,
there's more. And I had Joshua Miller, who's in the comments section. I'm not picking on you, bro, but it's fun. I'm just looking at your profile picture. And does anybody remember Tom from MySpace?
Yeah,
I thought that was Tom's picture at first.
I just had to point that out, Josh. You rock, bro.
Not this Tom. Tom from MySpace.
No, Tom from MySpace.
The cooler Tom. The cooler Tom.
Okay. Anyhow, but wait, there's more. Look at the headline. So, based on that commentary period and all of that back and forth that was going on, the town of Loveland has decided to postpone the vote on the final legislation until February of 2021. But does that mean you're out of the woods, Loveland? No, it does not. The reason why this is good news, and it's a forewarning to get ready, because the bottom line on this one is that they voted 6-2 to postpone it. However, on the first pass of the legislation, the vote was 6-3 to pass it on first reading. So that means they're basically ready to vote this ban in. But I guess with some reasonable conversation, they decided to postpone it until after the holidays into February. So that just means that, Loveland, you are also on the clock, and you need to stay active and get the messaging out. I'm sure they've heard most people, but you need to continue to reinforce that.
Don't they do these? When they come up with these types of bans and stuff, whether it's vaping or not, don't they do? They have what is called what is it? Environmental impact. Am I right, Anthony?
Well, that's part of what they start to look at, and you're right, John.
A lot of those. I think that's why a lot of these bills get held up, because I think they realize the money that they're going to lose due to
that's a big thing. You know, here in Washington, that was a big reason that we would bring in, is because we would have economic impact report.
Yeah, economic impact. Yeah.
So the economic impact report would be like, you guys are going to lose X amount of revenue. Like, you say that you're going to make this much in tax money, but if 40% of us close, you're only making this much money, and stuff kind of like that. There is also environmental impact studies last year, or actually I think it was the year before. They tried to implement a vape ban through Washington State's ecology department, and the way that they were doing a flavor ban is because they wanted to add like a battery recycling program or something along those lines. So they ran a whole ecological impact of how many batteries from vaping are going into the landfills and stuff like that. When comparatively, let's talk about cell phone batteries or, any other product that is much more popular than vaping that has a battery.
Right. and then to add on top of that too, I think in a lot of these cases where you've got these broad-based bans that are including the cigars and the menthol cigarettes, is that there is a social demographic element that they have to look at, because there's certain types of individuals that will smoke menthol cigarettes over a standard cigarette. And again, I don't want this to be a racial issue, but I mean, it's just facts on paper. So that's another reason why. So what you're probably looking at is maybe them to do some amendments to these bills and write in particular exemptions, maybe not pull them back entirely, but start to kind of carve out and chip away at some of the verbiage that's in these bills.
That would be pretty interesting. Bernie's comment there of, Colorado legalizes marijuana, but then they're worried about, the berry juice, which I hear that a lot here in Washington, we got legal weed. Why are we worried about vape? But we haven't tried yet is doing marijuana vape flavors.
Yeah. That'll
like, those are only 21 and up.
Their mind would blow. Their mind would blow up. They would just not know what to do with that.
Yeah, but I think one of the differentials with as far as the legalization of weed is that now it's into the governmental channels, right? So now it's taxation.
Also, you're limited to where you can use that product. So have
you been to Washington, John?
No, I know it's pretty bad.
Because you walk down any street in Seattle,
but and illegally, you're not supposed to smoke pot in a park, right? You're not supposed to smoke pot.
You're not supposed to, but where else would you?
Exactly.
A park is the best
Washington is just a big park anyway, so it's almost impossible not to be smoking marijuana in a park.
All right. Well, I think what's noteworthy to add on this particular article is they reported this on the heels of also, I think we talked about this last week, it might have been the week before, but San Francisco was trying to do something very, very similar. And they've also decided to postpone their vote until next year. So anybody in the San Francisco area who's watching the show,
on that shit,
you're on the clock. So there's a lot of people on the clock. And Anthony kind of hit the nail on the head at the beginning of all this conversation. And this is the big boy. I saved. I don't want to say I saved the best for last.
I'm hammering over here. Get
exactly.
to it.
So I'm
gonna
bringing
another beer if you don't hurry up.
Yeah, this one is all over the internet right now. If you're part of CASA, you're part of Twitter, you're part of any of your vape shops, you probably got 1 million emails right now from all your online vape stores, and I'm sure this is posted in most of the vape shops, is that there has been a radical shift in the direction of House Bill S-1253, which we've talked about on several occasions. This bill went in reverse of its normal path of traffic. So most things go to the House, then to the Senate, and then to the president's desk. This one went in reverse. It was from the Senate to the House, and it sat. All right, and now what's happened is the federal omnibus budget spending bill is coming up, and they're going to be voting on it this week. And rather than S-1253 getting kind of moved along in its natural language, they have taken verbiage or language out of that particular bill, and they're inserting it into the omnibus bill. Now, there's a reason why they do this, and that is because while S-1253 had bipartisan support in the House, in the Senate, and then onto the House, they know that certain things, if they want them to get them through, it'll be a lot harder and take a longer route to get them through on their own if they stand as individual bills. So they slip a lot of BS into these omnibus bills. Now, this omnibus bill is going to have to get voted on, and you know darn well it's probably going to pass at some point with maybe a couple little quibbles. But it's important to note that now is the time to activate. We have to talk now. So, if you're not part of CASA, Vaping 360, any of the big online places will have links to this. This happens to be from Vaping 360. But here's the trick, though, is that really who we're trying to influence at the top of the chain is Mitch McConnell. He's the Senate Majority Leader. So he, can have overall say whether or not this goes through in its current language. Now, what's not available to us is to talk on a specific section that this is included in. But there's links out there. You can email your representatives. So for some people, it's a little tricky. I did notice that with CASA, they have updated their call to action. So when you do send the email, it includes not only your local representative from whatever jurisdiction you're in, but it also includes both senators from your state. So all 3 or 4, it could be 4, I'm not really sure. I have 3 here in Georgia. I was caught in a weird kind of crux because the guy that is my jurisdiction representative is going out of office and a new person's coming in, so his office is closed and I'm not getting the responses for him to help. So they've included both current senators that are in the runoff here this month. However, I just really encourage everybody to speak up on this one. Light up the phone lines. There's a phone number right there, 202-224-2541. Blow it up. Blow up their phone lines and tell them that you encourage them, with the strongest respect, to reject any language that has to do with S-1253. Effectively, what this is going to do is it's going to stop your online stores and your local vape shops getting supplies, getting those mods and vape juices that you want from the USPS, bringing that product into them. So this affects both directions of channel. So that's to people and to the vape shops, to the online stores. Now, does that mean that we won't be able to get stuff through the mail online? No, it just means they're going to have to go to private companies, which are like UPS and FedEx, which means more than likely you'll be paying more for those products because the shipping is going to go up. And then it also will affect people in certain areas because, as I understand it, FedEx and UPS sometimes won't go to particular areas, certain parts of certain cities. They will hand it off to USPS because they deem those areas dangerous for those private companies. So they let the federal government workers go in there.
Are they also the companies that won't deliver to to PO boxes and stuff like that?
Yeah, right. FedEx and UPS do not deliver to APO, FPO, PO boxes at all. So if you use you use those kinds of addresses for your delivery of mail, FedEx and UPS won't go there. So that means you're going to be impacted.
You can be shit out of luck. And also you guys keep in mind that they would have the market, so they could charge whatever. They could just state that every vape product is a hazardous material and they could jack up the price of the package. So
exactly. Well, like batteries
and things
like that.
Exactly.
But I wanted to bring up another part of this because apparently there's been some language added. I don't know why it's not in this particular thing. Maybe I should have gone through CASA. But they're also stating that all online retailers would then have to be moved over and be under control of what's called the PACT Act or PACT Act. PACT Act, which means that they would then have to report all of their sales and their and charge each customer a particular tax for those products based on their state, and they would have to report those numbers on a monthly basis to the federal government. Not only that, they would have to report all the names and addresses of every customer that buys something from them, which means that online vendors would have to have staff that could manage that on the back end, and most people aren't staffed that way to be able to deal that. They're going to have to pay somebody, and we're on tough times now already. So it's imperative that you do your part if you can, and get on it and call, email, and speak up. But this one's a big one because they're supposed to be voting on it this week. I have not heard any more about it, where it is, but it's on the table. Yeah. So that's it.
We had what was it? Brian, remember Bob was talking about that on our sports show about his buddy having to pay thousands of dollars in taxes for cigarettes because he bought cigarettes online, because that could possibly happen with vaping as well, where you start ordering stuff online and then they can tax you on that.
Yep.
So I think he said it was in a couple of grand, right?
Yeah. So here's kind of the way I'm kind of looking at this mail thing is that if the vape industry kind of moves in the same industry, kind of like what the gun industry is, where you have to have a dealer license or something like that, specialty license for distros would have to only mail to shops and so that, and then the customers would have to go to the shops to get it. That's kind of what the gun industry is. Yeah. To me, that doesn't bother me as much, but the fact that there's a lot of people who do order online, and some people in my area where it is rural areas and that's the only way they can get certain juices, does bother me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, man, is like anything that is restricting someone who is a current smoker that wants to quit smoking. Why are we limiting any option for that? We know how bad cigarettes are. I don't get that logic, especially, with if we get into the party lines things, if you're a Democrat, here in Washington, you support universal health care.
Right.
Well, then, if you support universal health care, why don't you support one of the biggest smoking cessation products out there that would save us money on health care? I can't make the connection, guys. It's right here.
Well, the whole argument with the whole COVID thing right now is we can't have one person die because of COVID, type thing. Well, shouldn't that be used the same argument that we have as vapors is we can't have one person die because of smoking?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I don't get why, when it comes to other programs, here in Washington, and we have needle exchanges and, similar harm reduction strategies.
Yeah.
How can we do harm reduction for people that aren't paying taxes? Yeah. Most smokers are going to their job. That is why they're smoking. Let's be real. The majority that we all started smoking is mostly because of where we were working. And, we're paying our taxes, but we can't get any kind of we can't even vape flavors. We can hand out needles, but these guys can't vape flavors.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's it's that time. Let's do our little goodbyes. Who do I want to start with tonight?
I'm all fired up, man.
All right, go with Anthony. Go for it.
I'm all fired up.
Fire it up.
End on this note, okay? I got lots of things to say. I hope you guys all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'd been gone for a couple of weeks. I hope you guys are hopefully close to finish your Christmas shopping, unless you're me, because I don't do it till the last night. So don't worry about it. You still got plenty of time. Okay, we got
Gift
at least
cards.
9 days. We got 8 days to get it done, and you still would be done with a whole day, so you're fine. Make sure to join us next week on our show at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
No, don't do that now. Don't try to get out of that now.
I want to get it. I was gonna nail it.
It's not the time yet. We haven't given you the cue yet.
It's gonna be 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Let's let him get it out because he'll forget it between now and then the cue.
81 else, please use
Google it.
You can figure it out.
Google's good for it. Eh?
But for real, you guys, I hope you all had good holidays. Continue to have good holidays. You're staying safe from the COVID and the in-laws for the holidays. You know, COVID's real, but in-laws are more real. Stay away from them. They'll get you in trouble. And I hope you guys are ready. We have a $10 ZampleBox going right now. So if you're a first time, you've never tried ZampleBox, now's the time to do it. It's only $10. Go use the code WINTERBOX. Winter and box, one word, all caps, super easy. Yeah. And I will see you guys next week. Hope you guys have a good night.
You're the man, Anthony.
Get ready for regulations.
Regulations. Let's go to Brian.
Yeah. I got my box. It's pretty awesome.
Damn. Well, why didn't you tell me that you got your box today? Did an unboxing.
Because I don't have time for it right now, okay?
All right.
Second, I'm mad
at
Anthony.
Don't vape anything out of it until next week.
I'm mad at Anthony because he wasn't here last week for my birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to Anthony. I mean to Brian.
So there's that. Yeah, like the one day you're not here is my birthday. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, you got the box. That's his gift to you.
Right.
The box is his gift to you.
Oh, absolutely. Second of all, thank you everyone for joining and watching. It's always fun. Enjoying our bicker, and we're gonna try and make the penalty box a thing on the show now. I'm voting for that, just so you know. I think that was great. And you know, if you guys have any questions, let us know. Email us. Send us a message. Anything. Like, we're here to help you guys. So
yeah.
Thanks,
Mitch, I dropped your answer in the chat. We probably answer this every week, but for you guys who are just joining us, yes, Chris and Ian, they're working on other projects. We're hoping to have them back as cameos occasionally. Just depends on their schedule. Obviously, we have COVID going on, so it's a little bit weird right now, but we're trying new things. Okay, bear with us. We're doing stuff.
You're stuck with these faces right now. You're stuck with these faces right now. We're bringing you the content that is needed, that is important for the community. This show is about the community. It's not about a company. It's not about hardware. It's not about anything but the community. That's what we're here for.
By and for.
That's it. So if you're here for any other reason, I'm sorry for that. All right, Timmy, you're up. I'm gonna say.
All right, that was my Ric Flair. That was for Brian.
Right there. Do it again. Ric Flair again.
That was my
Ric Flair and Randy Macho Man Savage.
That was my Ric Flair for
you
Brian.
Just
there.
Brought back so many 70s. 70s.
Oh yeah.
You gotta like robot out of there though.
Yeah.
Next week, I want you to get what's the thing he bites on? What is that? That's Macho Man.
Oh yeah, Randy.
A Slim Jim. Snap into a Slim Jim.
There you go.
I'm sorry I brought up the whole wrestling topic. We should probably have a Wednesday night wrestling show right after this.
I can tell you right now that Brian's got a boner.
Yeah. So, I just want to say, hey, thanks to everybody who happened to tune in tonight and watch the show. We were sans guests this evening, but I thought we brought a lot of important topics to the table, and that's really why we're here, answering your questions, giving you our opinion on things, and feeding you information, and giving you our viewpoint on stuff. Take it or leave it, but really this is about the community, and we're just trying to keep the conversation going. So thank you for tuning in to our banter, like Brian said, and our laughing and our joking and poking each other around. So again, we'll see you next week, and vape on, vape strong.
I stole your sound. I stole your thing. Let's all steal Tim's thing.
Too much rock for one hand.
We're off to the witch. We may never, ever, ever come home.
Tommy boy, you're up, Tommy.
Bye.
Man, a few words.
Well, everything that I wanted to say has been said. I can't thank the guests. We didn't have fun. Thank everybody in chat for coming and hanging out.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Great questions from the chat today.
We really appreciate you guys commenting on the chat. We love that. We want to answer all your guys' questions. We'll do our best to answer your questions. Any ZampleBox questions that you guys got, Anthony's here. He's going to answer all those questions for you and as quickly as possible. So it's awesome. Yes, we are all new faces to this channel, and we're happy to be here. We want to educate the community and let them understand that there's more to brands and names and clouds and all that stuff, but there's advocacy and there's importance of keeping this community going, and that's what we're here for. And we want to make sure that you guys get the calls of action, understand what's going on, and and save this community. I'm proud to be part of this community. Like I've said many times over and over, I belong to a lot of groups. And this one here, it just blows me away. I mean, it's just a great community to be part of. There's no bias, there's no hate. Everyone's trying to help each other stop smoking, and I love that. I love the fact that we're all here for each other, and we're all helping each other get past not smoking cigarettes. I'm almost little over 9 years now, so it's awesome. And 5 years for Tom, and I know Jim's 6 or 7, and Brian and
6.
And that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter. We don't give a shit about brands. That's why we don't do hand checks and we don't do any of that stuff, because this show's not about hardware. It's not about what companies or what we're using. That doesn't matter, because it's what you use. It's what makes you successful every day and being smoke free. So that's our show. If you're new to the ZampleBox channel, hit the subscribe button and hit that little bell. It's on the right-hand side on the bottom there, and that'll let you guys know when there's new content on the channel. Anthony's doing videos all the time. He's got a salt channel. He's got all kinds of stuff going on.
What's in the box?
2021, here we come. I'm about to do some new stuff.
Yeah, we got the new year coming. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Everybody get ready for Christmas. And like I said, if you haven't finished your shopping, go to Amazon. Just buy gift cards. It's the simplest, easiest thing to do.
Mitch, we agree with you 1,000,000,000%, bro.
Yeah. What did Mitch say? I missed it.
He just said he's been subscribed to the channel forever, and he's just upset and mad about all the flavor bans.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to educate everybody, keep everybody on track, and let them know.
Bill, Christmas comes every year. Yeah. It was last year. It's also this year. It's coming.
Yeah, it just seems to keep coming every year. So
it just seems like 2020's been 5 years long.
Yeah, it does. Well, that's our show, guys. Again, we appreciate you guys participating in the show and commenting. We love those. If you guys want to get in touch with us on the Wednesday Night Live show, you can email us any topics or questions you guys would like for us to introduce or bring into the show or talk about.
Nudies.
Yeah, no nudes. Yeah,
no nudes.
Oh, well.
Tom loves the nudies.
Send all nudies. Send all nudies to Tom. And make sure you put in the subject matter, Tom. Well, guys, that's our show. We'll see you guys next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And Anthony knows the rest of the times.
7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're any other time zone, Google it.
Okay.